Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome into Skap Live After Dark, yet another thrilling rendition of The Lounge. Welcome into all of you as we are now here at the end, the conclusion of Game 2 of the NBA Finals. We're going to unpack it, talk a little post-game here, look at the major story elements for this game. Obviously, nowhere near as exciting or intriguing as Game 1. This was pretty much what I was expecting in Game 1. It's pretty much what I've been expecting for the majority of this series, or what I'm anticipating for the majority of this series. An easy, cruising 16-point blowout victory for the Oklahoma City Thunder to even this series 123-107. It is a final. We do have a final now, and it is an even series as we will now shift venues, head back to Indiana. Really, this is what I think Game 1 should have looked like. We were on the trajectory for Game 1 to look just like this. With 9 minutes remaining in Game 1, the Thunder were up by 15 points. And, they were still up 9 with 2.5 minutes to go in Game 1. They absolutely choked. They wet the bed. They soiled their pants, whatever you want to say about it. It was a pathetic, disgraceful choke job, I thought, by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Kind of a pathetic, disgraceful effort by the Thunder, by pretty much everyone in a Thunder's uniform in Game 1. Mark Daigneault, again, just like last year's Coach of the Year, Mark Daigneault coached them out of a win, in my estimation, in Game 1 in the semifinal round against the Denver Nuggets. I thought he coached them out of a win in Game 1 of this NBA Final Series. Pretty much every element of the Thunder were clicking tonight. Just a true bounce-back game. Never in doubt, although I didn't really think Game 1 was ever in doubt. But they hold on tonight. They never take their foot off the gas, so to speak. And just an easy win. Like I said, to start the series, I think every Thunder win will be by double digits. So if you see a line that is not at least 10 in this game, in this series, my expectation would be everybody should be betting that line. If you see a single digit line ever, I doubt you will. It was a double digit line in Game 1 and 2. Who knows? Maybe now as we shift back to Indiana, I'll check in a couple minutes, or when we get a little bit later on into the show, I'll give it a look, see what the preliminary line out of Las Vegas is for Game 3. But my expectation would be it's around 9.5, in which case I would probably be taking Oklahoma City. I think Indiana might maybe squeeze out one more very close fingernail biting game in this one, pretty much that Oklahoma City just lets them get. Every game, though, that the Thunder remain dialed in and focused in on for 48 minutes, my expectation is it's going to look like this or worse. I don't think the Pacers would really have anything to counter a fully invested Oklahoma City Thunder team that is not taking their foot off the gas, proverbially speaking, or choking themselves, in that game. I said before the series, I think Tyrese Halliburton is going to be a fascinating person to watch. I don't think he even played all that well in Game 1. He had 14 points on, I believe it was 6 of 13 shooting in Game 1. So he had 17 tonight on 7 of 13. Much of that came in pure garbage time in the fourth quarter. Though, as we see with Indiana throughout these playoffs, there really is no such thing as garbage time for them. They just kind of always seem to be alive, but not tonight. And Halliburton, just kind of a mediocre game tonight for him. He had only 6 assists to accompany that 17 points and 5 turnovers. So not a very effective game for him tonight. He was -5 on the plus-minus scale tonight. So, back-to-back ho-hum games. As I said, as I expected coming into this series, Halliburton would not be that effective in the series because of the really wide array of elite perimeter defenders that the Oklahoma City Thunder has to throw at this kid. It's just, I figured it was going to be tough sledding. Halliburton, though, did redeem a mediocre game in Game 1 with the legendary, historic game winner with about 0.3 of a second remaining. They did not even lead that game by a full second. In this game, it was a little back and forth in the first quarter. The Pacers actually they took a couple of leads in the first quarter, down to about maybe the 4 or 5 minute remaining mark. And then from then on out, it was pretty much all Oklahoma City. They were vacillating between, 12 to 20 point leads throughout the entirety of this game. It was over 20 at one point in the fourth quarter. And just as you would expect, it was a very nice full team game here by the Oklahoma City Thunder, a complete team effort, of course, led by league MVP SGA. 34 points for him tonight on 11 of 21. A very effective game for him. 8 assists, 5 rebounds, 4 steals. Big bounce back games, though. Mainly just Chet Holmgren. He played very well early on. He ends with a modest line himself, only 15.6 rebounds, but he was big early on. He came out of the gates in the first quarter and was leading them throughout the beginning part of that quarter and led the way in scoring for them for most of that first quarter. So a big bounce back game for him, at least to start the first quarter off after his abysmal game one. Jalen Williams, 19 points tonight for him, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, but struggled again with his shot tonight, only 5 of 14. He shot horribly last game as well. The big story here for me, my big takeaway out of this game two here by the Oklahoma City Thunder is their bench was just crippling tonight. They get 20 points from Caruso. He got a huge standing ovation when he came off the floor ultimately there at the end of the game. 20 points for him on 6 of 11, 4 of 8 from 3. The steady, calming influence that they obviously anticipated he would be. He was, I thought, just a monumental offseason acquisition for them when they signed him because this is just still a very, very young team. Every player in their principal core 10-man rotation is still like 26 or under. So I think it was just a huge offseason acquisition to bring him on. He's 31. He's been here, done that. He won a championship with the Lakers in the bubble. So he just kind of provides that veteran leadership. The guy, he's been here, done that before, a champion, a proven, tested veteran. And he was the calming influence throughout the entirety of this game. We've seen his humongous impact all playoffs long. I mean, this is one of the truly elite perimeter defenders in the entire NBA. He was second-team All-NBA last year, first-team All-NBA defense the year before. I think he would have been a designated All-NBA defender this year if he didn't miss too many games to reach designation. I think he only played in 54, but he's just been a humongous defensive contributor throughout the entirety of these playoffs. But people forget, he's also a sharpshooter. He shot 50% from 3 tonight, and he pours in 20 points off the bench, the second leading Thunder scorer on the entire night. They also get 18 points from Aaron Wiggins on, again, blistering three-point shooting from him, 5 of 8, 6 of 11 overall. And this is what I've been talking about all year. I think Jalen Williams, who was an all-star, all-NBA defense, as, in my estimation, the third best player on this team behind Chet Holmgren, obviously, and then number one best player on their team is the league MVP, SGA. But I think their big three, if you will, of Holmgren, Williams, and SGA is as good or better than any big three in the entire NBA. Probably the only big three I would put above them would be the Boston Celtics when at health, which of course we know they're not now because of the Jason Tatum injury and the fact that he's going to miss all of next season. So I think the Oklahoma City Thunder essentially, look, we'll see what happens with Giannis Antetokounmpo and Kevin Durant in the trade market here coming up in the next 2 to 3 weeks surrounding that NBA draft on June 25th. But depending on where those two guys go, I think the Oklahoma City Thunder have the best big three in all of basketball. Their number one lead guy in SGA is arguably better than anybody else other than Nikola Jokic. If you want to throw in one more guy, maybe Giannis Antetokounmpo. So they're top heavy, but then they also have the best bench in the NBA. They have the best net rated bench in the league. And this is just the kind of ability that they have to bury you with their depth. A 20-point per game performance from Caruso and an 18-point per game from Wiggins off the bench. So good luck dealing with this team and all the things that they present with you, all the challenges that they present, and the fact that they're just so good defensively. The Pacers, again, though, kudos to them. Again, they shoot kind of lights out in the second half. They end the night at 45% from the field. And they still, they shot 46% from 3 last game. They're down to 35% tonight. I think that was one of the big differences from game 1 to 2. The Thunder's contest on the 3-point line. But again, the Pacers shoot 45% for the game. They were at 36%, I think, at the end of the first half. So they shot markedly better in the second half of this game, just like they did in game 1, but just not enough ultimately. When the Thunder, like I've been saying, when they are engaged, I talked about this in the lead up to this series a few days ago when we came on in the afternoon, and we segued from Skap After Dark to Skap Afternoon. Like the day before the series began, I speculated that this would be an absolute trouncing, a bloodbath, a bludgeoning, and a beating by the Oklahoma City Thunder. And, many of you mocked and ridiculed me for that pick. Gary, moderator Gary, by the way, is in the house. Shout out to him. He was piggybacking me. He agreed. We agreed on that the Pacers have essentially no shot. You guys, many of you came in and were, talking your trash, doing the "I told you so" kind of a thing after game 1. And look, I think I was congratulatory enough of the Indiana Pacers and what they did, what they accomplished in game 1, and hanging around and finding a way. But I didn't have any illusions to the fact that the Thunder were implicit in that. In fact, that had very little to do with the Pacers, in my estimation. It had a lot more to do with the Thunder and their inability to close and their inability to remain focused on the task at hand. And it shouldn't, I guess, be much of a surprise to me or anybody else. They've been doing it all postseason. At least they did it against the Denver Nuggets in multiple games. The Nuggets somehow got them to a 7th game after their absolute choke job in game 1. Looked pretty reminiscent to the choke job in this series. So I make no qualms about it. I think if the Thunder can stay focused and engaged for the next 3 games, this will be a gentleman's sweep, in my opinion. I do not think the Pacers will get another game if the Oklahoma City Thunder can stay focused. And I am, bear with me, just going to check here. The next game is on Wednesday. Wow, this is a very tight line, actually. In the preliminary open, the line coming out of Vegas here on the heels of game 2's conclusion tonight, OKC -4.5, which is like the lowest. They've been favored in every game they played in this postseason. That's just how dominant they are. They have been favored in every single game this playoff run. This, though, is the shortest, the smallest, the thinnest line that I've seen them have all postseason long. So I would be certainly, please be responsible with your betting habits and so forth. For addiction, call whatever 1-800-GAMBLER, whatever. What I'm saying is, don't bet more than you're willing to lose or whatever. I'm certainly not condoning illicit gambling either, but in markets where it is legal, I live in one where it is not. So unfortunately, I cannot capitalize on this. But if I were in a market where gambling was legal and I had the access to online platforms, I would be banging this line right now tonight when I had the opportunity to get it at -4.5. I think that line will likely shift over the next couple of days. I expect Oklahoma City to come out and win that game handily. But look, the Nuggets, look at last again, let's use the Nuggets series as a template, the semifinal round where the Thunder choked game 1 away to Denver. Then they actually obliterated the Nuggets in game 2. Even worse, this game wasn't even a blowout at all. If we compare it to game 2 of that Nuggets series in the semifinals, I think they won, the Thunder won by like 40 points. So then everybody was obviously writing the Nuggets off. The Nuggets then won the next game to go up 2-1 then in that series. I don't expect to see that in this series. I think the Thunder will come out and strike back with a vengeance in that game next time. But guys, listen, I liked the energy last time when you came in here and you were smearing mine and Gary's face in it. Many of you calling both of us out, some targeting moderator Gary. So let me just go ahead and pull moderator Gary in here to the mix. Gary, you were taking it on the chin after last game. A lot of people talking their shit on you, pumping the chest in your face in the chat. What are you seeing right now, Gary? Are you seeing that same charisma and that same arrogance that you saw after game 1, or is it a little more subdued now in the chat?
Yeah. Well, you guys failed me. I asked you to come back after game 2 with the same energy. I'm asking because I damn well know, guaranteed, had the Pacers won tonight, there'd be a few more Pacer fans in the chat right now. Where are you guys at? See, this is what I said, Scott. This is what annoys me about sports is that you can sit there and before a game argue about who's going to win, and then 9 out of 10 times, the guy who lost is nowhere to be found. It's a ghost town in his community. So where are you guys at? I don't see anyone in. Oh, well, here I see Golf in America, Pacers in 5. Well, props to you, Golf, for at least saying that you're wrong, but at least he's here. Golf of America, thumbs up for you. Salute.
Pacers in 5. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't even know. Where the real question is, Gary, where is our man Lester's banana tonight? Because I would be willing to do almost anything that Lester wants if it's Pacers in 5. There is no shot whatsoever that is going to happen. I could see Thunder in 5 for sure, as I just said.
I bet it's going to be 6. And I say that because here's OKC's one weakness. Whenever they get momentum and they get a lead, they get complacent, they get comfortable. And a team like the Pacers is going to keep the foot on the gas regardless of the score. So I could see the Pacers getting one. That's really what happened with the Nuggets. Like you were saying, how the heck did the Nuggets win game 3? Well, OKC was like, we blew them out by 40. They weren't focused, and the Nuggets were, because the Nuggets are a team that is going to championship pedigree, a lot of heart, and they keep playing hard regardless of the scoreboard. And OKC, they have lapses of focus when they feel like they have the upper hand. And that's something the coach is going to have to teach out of them going forward, because really that's their only weakness. They need to learn to keep the foot on the gas all the time, and they'll be sweeping virtually every series.
Yeah, for sure. I think looking at the Pacers side of the equation tonight, Gary, we've talked throughout the course of this postseason run by them, primarily really throughout the last series, because I don't think anybody really thought that the Pacers had any shot of getting into the NBA Finals. Realistically, even when that last the Eastern Conference Finals series began, I don't think it was till probably after game 1 or 2 even, when they went up 2-0 in New York, that people really started giving the Pacers a viable shot to get out of conference. And we kind of, at that point, we're just looking at their lineup and their roster construction and marveling at it, quite frankly, because they are a very deep, well-built team. And even tonight, like, they have 7 players in double figures tonight. 2 off the bench. Their bench was good tonight too. It just wasn't as good as the Thunder's bench tonight. But they had 2 guys in double digits off the bench in Mathurin and McConnell. And then every single starter was in double digits for the Indiana Pacers. But they're 2 really their main guys that you really need to see them step up and carry the team. Pascal Siakam, poor game for him, 15 points on only 3 of 11 shooting. And then we said, look, Tyrese Halliburton, he ends with a fairly decent looking line of 17 points and 6 assists on 7 of 13 shooting. But he had single digits throughout the entire first 3 quarters. He plumped up that final end game line
in the fourth quarter. According to I went over the whole fourth quarter and I counted 12 points for Halliburton in the fourth quarter. If he had 17, that means 5 points in the first 3 quarters. And so in garbage time, he got 12 points. So he was virtually non-existent in the heat of the contest.
Exactly right. And that's what I've been saying. What I said coming in, and I don't want this to become a negative commentary on Halliburton because it is a Herculean ask. This is what I was talking about with the Jokic series whenever they played. Because, like, why am I not criticizing Jokic? Well, because the ask is so much. See, the ask for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander isn't much. Like, you don't really have to defend because there's 3 or 4 much better perimeter defenders than he is. And he's a great defender, but he's not charged with that responsibility. And then, they have so many other great players on the lineup. Like, it's hard to hedge on him. And like, you can't double and triple Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. At least if you do, you're going to get blown out in my estimation. Really, the ask for Shea is not a very big ask. It's not like a Herculean task that, like, if Nikola Jokic were to have beaten the Thunder, that would have been an unbelievable performance by him. Just getting it to 7, I think, is just an amazing feat for him to get it into a game 7 because of just how big the lift was, how big the ask was. The same is true of Tyrese Halliburton. I expected him to struggle mightily in this series. I'm not going to take anything away from his postseason run and what he's accomplished in the first 3 series. I think, look, I've been saying it for about a week now. I am ready to bestow superstar status upon Tyrese Halliburton. It is irrelevant to me what happens in this series. He is such a massive and substantial underdog, and the ask is so extreme, and the lift would be so Herculean that I don't care how bad it looks. And it looked terrible through 3 quarters for him last game, and it looked terrible for 3 quarters in this game for him as well. But again, I'm not going to sit here and discredit what I saw in the first 3 rounds, because not a lot of people can succeed against this Oklahoma City Thunder team. It's just they just present so many challenges when they have 5 of the top 8 league-wide defenders and 7 top 20 defenders spanning every single position. Basically, you have 2 elite big defensive players, and then you have just a hodgepodge, a collection of lengthy, long, interchangeable guys that you can switch on any number of players. They can switch anything on picks and screens. I mean, it's almost impossible to find an advantage against this team. So again, I'm not going to sit up here and dog Halliburton. I thought he was fantastic down the stretch last game. He was good in the fourth quarter tonight. It just didn't matter because the lead was too far gone. The big lead last game in game 1 was 15. They were up by over 20 in the fourth quarter tonight. So it was just too far gone for them tonight, I think. And that's the equation. Like, Indiana just wants to keep this thing close, get it into like a 1 or 2 score possession game in the last minute and a half, and just hope that they can hit a clutch shot or 2, and that, conversely, the Thunder are going to choke and fall apart down the stretch. Because realistically, the Thunder are 15 to 20 points better than them on any given night. So it's really not going to be close most nights. So just you have to capitalize on those games that you can coax them into a close, tightly played game. But tonight was not that night. I think, and anybody expecting the Pacers to come out and keep this under single digits, it was a pipe dream. You guys were full of it if you thought that. A team, the Thunder, who led for 47.47 seconds or whatever, 47 minutes and change in the last game, and absolutely choked all over themselves. They weren't going to come out and lay another egg facing the prospect of going down 0-2 in the series and going on the road. They aren't the Knicks, right? Like, that's what New York did last game. I think that was never, ever going to happen tonight. And so it didn't. The game went pretty much as I expected, this series to go. And we've seen, moments. I was looking at it, and I talked about this again in the afternoon lounge a few days ago. The Thunder this year are the 6th highest, biggest favorite in NBA Finals history. So pre-tip of the series, the Thunder this year are the 6th biggest favorite from Vegas. The number 1 favorite in the last 50 years or whatever it is. Do the math. From 1968 to now, 2025, the biggest pre-tip finals favorite ever were the 2001 LA Lakers. That was a team that swept the whole Western Conference. They went 12-0 in the West. That was the middle one of Kobe and Shaq's three-peat, and they were playing the Sixers that year. Now, all of you, if you don't remember, the Sixers actually won game 1. They came out, Allen Iverson, with that historic 50-piece in Staples Center in overtime. The Sixers absolutely stun the Shaq Kobe Lakers, hand them their first loss of the entire postseason to that point. And it ultimately really meant nothing at all, because the Lakers came back and won 4 consecutive games on the heels of losing game 1. I would not be shocked in the absolute least to see something similar, a script similar to that play out in this series. So, we'll just have to wait and see Wednesday. It is Sunday. Game 3 is going to be in Indiana on Wednesday night. So we have 2 days off in between. We got the travel day now, obviously. And then a hockey game tomorrow. Guys, I don't really talk. I've talked a lot of football recently on here. I'm a big football fan. Pretty much, I've been following the NFL avidly for 30 years. I love the NHL playoffs. I'm not a monstrous regular season fan, but the NHL playoffs to me is fantastic. And we have a delicious little series going on right now in the Stanley Cup. An absolute barn burner over there. So you can the NHL and the NBA have been so nice to us that they are alternating days. Like, they're not putting these games on concurrently. So we have till Wednesday in this NBA series, and the tomorrow night will be game 3 of the NHL Stanley Cup Finals, and it has been the 2 first games have been absolute gems to this point. My goodness, Gary, are you a hockey fan by any chance?
I love the sport, but what I hate, it makes no sense from a business standpoint. Why would you have 2 of the 4 major sports playoffs overlapping the same time? It makes no sense. Someone's season needs to adjust. We have nothing. Dog days of summer. July and August, we have nothing but baseball to watch, which baseball's cool, but at the same time, we could imagine if they adjusted the hockey or the NBA so that we got playoffs following right after. Say you did. I think the NBA season should start January 1 and run until the end of August, right before kickoff of the NFL. Let NHL the hockey keep their playoffs. We could actually be enjoying some hockey. We can't keep up with hockey and NBA both. So, of course, we're going to choose NBA over NHL.
Well, until we whittle down, like I said, now that once you whittle down to like the conference finals or the NBA and the Stanley Cup.
Right, but what I'm saying is we're over here focused on NBA right now, and NHL playoffs are going on, and we can't focus on that. Right now, when the NBA ends, NHL ends at the same time. There's 2.5 months open right there for us to get deep into the hockey playoffs or NBA playoffs.
Well, Gary, I will say this though, in continuing my plug of the NHL, the first 2 games have been masterpieces. It was the Florida Panthers defending. I won't talk long on this, but the Florida Panthers defending Cup champions were up 3. They were up 2 goals I believe into the 3rd period in game 1. They blew the 2-goal lead. Ultimately got pushed into an overtime, and then the Edmonton team led by Connor McDavid the kid is unbelievable. He is special to watch. So they won game 1 with 30 seconds remaining in the first period. That's obviously a heartbreaking loss for the Florida Panthers, defending champions. So they lose that game 1. Then they blow another lead in game 2, get taken into 2. It went 2 overtimes. And then ultimately Florida did get the equalizer in that series. So that game is split 1-1, but 2 games, 3 overtime sessions now in 2 games. And both game a walk-off goal. So 1 game, 1 goal differential in both games. Now we shift back to Florida on Monday night. So it's crazy that a Canadian team has not won a Stanley Cup in it's been 30 years or more since a Canadian. This is insane to me. And a different Florida team now is looking to win 2 cups in the last 7 years. So Tampa obviously won 2 cups 5-6-ish years ago. And now Florida is trying to go back to back. And actually Tampa, the Tampa Bay Lightning, went to 3 straight Stanley Cups in a row, finals in a row. They won 2 of them. And now Florida's looking to win 2. The Mecca, the birthplace of hockey in Canada, hasn't won shit in 30 plus years. And now a second Florida-based team for hockey is looking to win its 2nd cup in less than 10 years. So this is an outrageous setup for this series. Obviously, Connor McDavid is royalty, is hockey royalty. The kid is 3rd all time in points per game all time behind only Gretzky and Lemieux. I think he's in his 10th year. He's led the league in scoring 5 of 10 years, and I'm pretty sure he has 3 league MVPs. So just absolute hockey royalty for him. Anyway, guys, if you're do not be too forlorn that we have 2 days off. This is my point, in between this game and the next, because you can check out this hockey. And Gary, we do have OTA starting soon here in the NFL. So there's news trickling out on that too. And then we're going to get to some super chats. I just want to mention again, I think I mentioned it on the last one. Although I didn't, maybe it didn't happen on the last one. I don't know. I'm lack of sleep. I'm losing sight of which day it is and when it happened. But the Pittsburgh Steelers signed Aaron Rodgers. So
it was like last Friday, I want to say.
Okay, so we probably already mentioned it. But what we did not mention, though, is the contract. Like, I finally got to look at the terms on this thing. Wow. $13 million base salary for Aaron Rodgers with incentives as much as $19 million only. That is cheap. Like, say what you will, he's 41 years old. He had like the 25th best QBR out of 32 teams, or 32 qualified players last year, or something like that. If you look at the guys that finished above him, it's ridiculous. Some of the guys that finished above Aaron Rodgers in total QBR last year. Daniel Jones, that slab of ass that he is, finished like 0.2 of a point lower than Aaron Rodgers last year. So I'm not trying to sugarcoat this and make this look like it's a tremendous signing or anything like that. But at just 20 million, under 20 million max for him is just a crazy value, I think, for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Anyway, guys, if you are just joining us, we're about over the 30-minute mark now of the Skap Live After Dark Lounge. Many thanks to all of you who have stopped in here or joined us along the way. Again, as always, I'm joined with moderator Gary, and we are discussing the Thunder's easy 16-point victory, 123-107 at home, equaling this series up at 1 game apiece. We now shift venues to Indiana for games 3 and game 4. That won't be till Wednesday. The odds makers like Indiana's chances. The Thunder are only 4.5-point favorites. In that one, they were 10.5-point favorites in game 1, 11.5-point favorites in game 2. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander tonight leads the way, 34 points. Just a really well-rounded performance, though, by the Oklahoma City Thunder. 20 points for Caruso, Alex Caruso off of the bench. Another 18 off the bench for Aaron Wiggins. Just craziness. 38 points off the bench from just 2 guys for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Meanwhile, Tyrese Haliburton struggles for the majority of a second consecutive game. Of course, he erased the struggles in game 1 with that game winner. And then tonight he does pad the stats LeBron style in the fourth quarter in garbage time. But nonetheless, Tyrese is struggling, as was expected by me. But guys, let's get into some of these super chats. Gary, we've got, I don't know, like 12 or so already. So, we're in here. If you guys want to talk, we just laid out some hockey. I don't expect anybody in this audience maybe to want to take my bait on that. Football, of course, we can talk the game tonight, game 2 NBA Finals. Anything else in between, any other basketball things. We are, as I did mention also in the open, inching ever so closely to the NBA draft. It's speculated to be one of the best drafts in recent memories. There is a lot of high-end players, a lot of potential for some really good contributors into the NBA in this draft. Not just Cooper Flagg, which there is, of course, Cooper Flagg, who will be he is purportedly going to be a legendary type player. So we'll see if he can live up to some of the other guys that came in with this kind of cachet leading into the draft. But there's other guys out there other than him. And we have finally, also in the backdrop of all of that, the fates of Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo teetering in the backdrop, which is going to be something to behold. I think one or both might be moved within the next 2.5 weeks leading into that draft. Maybe hell, even on draft night, that could be really intriguing. So again, if you want to talk about any of that, I'm here for it. It is 11:12 p.m. on the East Coast in the US of A, where I am, coming out of live here. Moderator Gary also in my same time zone. So welcome. And I know we have a bit of an international appeal here. So we have a lot of people in a lot of different time zones. But let's kickstart this first off with Samson, the current irregular sponsor here in the lounge. Welcome in to you, Samson. Many thanks for your continued support. Gary, what does Samson have for us tonight?
It's like I keep saying, Pacers equal Rams. I'm not I guess he's joking.
Yeah, switching it up on us. Samson's been plugging his Pacers. So, he's been saying Thunder equal Rams. So he's flipping it up here with that little cool guy sunglass emoji. So yeah, you can't walk it back, Samson. We know the checks have been cashed. It's already etched. We've got the list down. We've taken the receipts. We know what you guys have been saying. We've been hearing it loud and clear in the chat. So nice try. It's not going to work. We've got Skap's extra strong cologne.
This is his best avatar yet.
Skap's extra strong cologne, which is a regular, a regular into the lounge, a regular sponsor, but even more so than that, which we appreciate your continued sponsorship and support of us, Skap's extra strong cologne, but a great handle, obviously. But in addition, for those of you who might not know, Skap's extra strong cologne comes in with a new avatar virtually every single night. So the little pic that is associated with his handle. And for those of you who might not be watching and are just listening, there's really no other way to describe this one other than me with like a hilarious look on my face with my mouth open and a banana coming down from off screen dangling over me. So Lester's banana, who I did see is in. Lester's banana, we will get to you at some point, dropped some question or comment here, so I'm sure it's banana related. Lester's banana, who is, of course, obsessed with bananas, and it has turned into a whole thing of, one-upsmanship, banana one-upsmanship, trying to make me or Gary commit to various banana-related prop things, depending on outcomes of games or series. So Lester is obviously, this was a rough night for Lester. Because, he's riding the Pacers all the way to the finish line in this one and hoping that Gary and I will engage in something that can probably only be aired not on YouTube at that point, but on OnlyFans more than likely would be Lester's wish if he had it his way. But now Skap's extra strong cologne is in the mix as well with this banana-centric avatar. So shout out to you, Skap's extra strong cologne. And Gary, go ahead and read the question or comment associated with this generous super chat from them tonight.
Hey, Skap, since Jokic single-handedly kept the Nuggets relevant in 2025, do you think he could do the same for the Rockies if he is on there? I'm trying to visualize him swinging a baseball bat. I don't. The visual is pretty humorous. I don't think he's going to be quite as effective in baseball.
Also, correct me if I'm wrong here. I want to get the exact standings here, so just hang with me. I want to say the Rockies are like one of the worst baseball teams ever through this. Last I checked, I think they had 9 wins or something like that. I just want to see where they're at now. They're up to 12. They're 12-53, which is heinous. For those of you who are not following baseball at this point, the worst team in Major League Baseball, other than the Rockies at this point, is the Chicago White Sox. They are 22-44. So 22 wins for the next worst team. The Rockies have only 12. So look, as bad as the Denver Nuggets are, Skap's extra strong cologne, to your point, and they are bad. I think if you extracted Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets for an entire season this year, like just say this year, I think they would have won about 25 or 26 games. They ultimately won 50, and Jokic missed 12. So, and they lost 8 of those 12. So just keep in mind, like what might have happened. If he had if he played more, if he didn't miss 12, they probably would have won 55 or so. I think they would have won 26 ish without him. That is bad. It's probably like 5th worst team bad in the NBA this year. Whereas they went 7 games with the historic Oklahoma City Thunder in the semifinal round of the playoffs, but they're not worst team ever bad without Nikola Jokic. So, I don't think they're not that bad. Sorry, Gary is texting me. Gary is peppering me with text messages. He thinks he got booted. So we might have some technical issues with moderator Gary brewing here. I do see you backstage, Gary. Gary, but he might be muted. I don't know. My answer though to you, Skap's Extra Strong Cologne, and then we'll look into moderator Gary's technical issues. No, I do not think Nikola Jokic could provide the same level of carrying that he provided the Nuggets to the Rockies. I think he's a little too big I don't think his bat speed would be very quick. I don't think he'd get his hands around quick enough to get on top of major league fastballs. So maybe though maybe he would be a good pitcher. He's like 7'2", so maybe he has the velocity and he could bring, he could pitch. I don't know. Maybe he could have like 110 mile per hour fastball. Who knows? But I think my money would be on Jokic just in the basketball realm, not in baseball. All right, Gary, can you say something for us, Gary? All right, I'm not hearing Gary off the bat here. Hang on. Let me throw you up on stage. All right, go ahead. Now, are you back here? All right. I can hear you now, Gary. So welcome back. Gary got ejected for some reason on the stream. Welcome back in, Gary. You didn't miss much. I was just finishing off Skap's Extra Strong Cologne and his hilarious banana avatar. Let's shift next to Bob M. Not to be confused with Bob Myers. He has made that clear that this is just a separate Bob M. Go ahead and read this one, Gary.
Overrated, Skap. 14 and 17 points in finals games means overrated. Stop trying to pass him off like a star. He ain't. He's the Lamar Jackson of the NBA. Hey, he's on the verge. I would say Halliburton is just a little too inconsistent at the time to be considered to be promoted to an official superstar, but he's bordering, and he's still young.
I think, like I said, he's not. I said this, Bob, coming into this series, I loud and clear proclaimed that Halliburton was going to struggle mightily in this series. He was going to look terrible because, what are you expecting? Like, they have the two best perimeter defenders on the planet on one team in my estimation, in Lou Dort and in Alex Caruso. The single best two perimeter defenders on the planet on one team. And then, oh, hey, by the way, Jalen Williams was all NBA defense second team this year. So one of the four best perimeter defenders for Jalen Williams, probably because they have a couple, 2 or 3 guards on each team. So they have 3 top 5 perimeter defenders on the planet on one team. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who in my estimation, if he were on any other team but the Thunder, he would probably be all NBA defensive caliber, but he's just lost on this team because of how many better defenders they have than him. But he is probably an all NBA caliber defensive player as well. That's 4 all NBA defensive caliber players on the perimeter to throw at Tyrese Halliburton, and elite rim protectors. To me, I think Chet and Hartenstein are also all NBA caliber defensive players. So I don't know what you're realistically expecting from Tyrese Halliburton. He's a 6'3", 175-pound guard. It was always gonna happen in this matchup. He was always gonna get clamped down. This is not a surprise to me. 14 and 17, I think that's not so bad actually from what I was expecting. Now, granted, he pumped both of those up. I think he had 5 points at the end of 3 quarters tonight, and I think he had 7 points through 3 quarters 2 games ago in game 1. So, he was absolutely unequivocally shut down and clamped down in games 1 and 2 for 6 of the 8 quarters. And then he got loose in game 1, and it had a big impact. They won the game, and he hit the game when he shot. And then tonight it was just a little stat padding, a little window dressing, if you will. So, but I said going in, I expected this to happen, and it's not a surprise to me. And I said going in, I would not be making any kind of negative commentary based on Halliburton, based on the veracity of what happens in this series, because I'm expecting him to look terrible. A lot of people look terrible against this Oklahoma City Thunder team. That's just how damn good they are. They're just almost impossible to attack. That's why when people ridiculously came on these live chats or on my channel and we're talking about Nikola Jokic choking or Nikola Jokic getting shut down or Nikola Jokic playing poorly against the Thunder, literal hilariousness to me. Just so utterly tone deaf, ignorant, and uneducated on the sport, if that was your takeaway from Nikola Jokic getting the Denver Nuggets and the Oklahoma City Thunder to a Game 7 while he averaged 28 points per game, 15 rebounds, and like 7 assists on 48% shooting. That is shutting him down against that team. Like, it was an all-time performance in my estimation to get that into a 7th game. And for him to shoot 48% from the field, average 28 against the level of attention defensively he was receiving. He was essentially triple covered 80% of the series by like 3 top 10 league-wide defenders. And he still got 28 on 48% and like 7 assists per game. Get out of here. While controlling the glass and averaging 15 rebounds a game. Like, heroic performance by him, but just not enough to ultimately win the series because this Thunder team is that good. I'm already surprised and shocked and impressed by the Indiana Pacers. I thought they would probably lose in 5 or maybe 4. And I thought they would never lead the series. They had a 1-0 lead in this game or in this series. So I don't really know, Bob, what you expected from Tyrese Halliburton. He certainly ain't Lamar Jackson. There are people out there. I'm saying Tyrese Halliburton is like a top 10 player. Like he's back-to-back All-NBA 3rd team now for 2 seasons. That would indicate he's a top 15 player, somewhere between 11 to 15. I'm saying he's a bit better than that now going into this next season. I think he's a top 10-ish player. People are saying Lamar Jackson is an all-time great, that Lamar Jackson is the best player in the NFL. Like, I don't see this comparison at all. Lamar Jackson is one of the most overrated players in my estimation in NFL history. I'm not seeing this comp at all, Bob M. But I appreciate your ongoing support of us here in the lounge, of course. But that's you're off base on this one. Lamar Jackson's way more overrated than Halliburton. And also, Halliburton's peers did vote him the most overrated player in the NBA in advance of these playoffs. But where are all these other peers? Like, they're not in the NBA Finals round. There's 2 teams left standing at this point: the Thunder and their opponent, which is the Indiana Pacers, led there by Tyrese Halliburton. So, if anything, I think Halliburton is really upped his cachet in these playoffs and what like his placement is in today's current NBA in the pantheon of all-time greats of today's game. I think he's in the top 10 tier in my estimation, Bob. But come back in, and if you really disagree, come back in and let me know why. But get this comp, the Lamar Jackson comp, out of here. Lamar Jackson substantially more overrated than Tyrese Halliburton. All right, next we've got Jolly Joshams in, who is yet another regular here in the Skap Lounge. Welcome into you, Jolly Joshams, and thank you for your support, continued support. What is the question or comment from Jolly Joshams tonight, Gary?
This is what I expected Game 1 to be. Skap, it's so surprising that when Chet Holmgren doesn't go 2 for 9, that the Thunder win by double digits. What a shocker. Still, maybe it will be a tighter match going into Indy, says Jolly Joshams. Tighter match going to Indy. What says Skap?
Vegas agrees. Like I said, they were. We had a 10.5 and 11.5 point line in games 1 and 2. It is only 4.5 for Oklahoma City, minus 4.5, which that is the lowest line by far that I've seen. I think Denver, the closest Denver got, I think Denver was 6.5, maybe 5.5 or 6.5 in game 7. So Denver was getting 5.5 or 6.5 in game 7 of that semifinal round. Then the news about Aaron Gordon's hamstring broke. And that line went from 5.5 to like 8.5 or 9 or something. So And I think that game 7 was the lowest line at the open point being 5.5 or 6.5. That was the lowest they ever had until now. So 4.5 is a very low open. Like I said, bet responsibly. And if you are in a market to do it legally, if I would be pounding that line right now because my expectation would be there's going to be heavy movement on that. I can't believe my eyes when I saw that 4.5. I was thinking maybe 7.5 or 8, which is what I think it will be more closely to that level whenever the tip-off actually arrives in 2 days on Wednesday. So we'll see. I would be locking that line in right now if I were anybody in a legal market. But I don't see it though, Gary, moderator Gary or Jolly, to your point or question. No, I do not think it's going to be closer. I think again, the only team or the only factor that I can't account for in this series is the Oklahoma City Thunder and their complacency. Like, are they going to play with the level of tenacity and focus that they are capable of? I mean, look, again, I hate to keep harping on that series. 2 series ago in the semifinals in the second round against the Denver Nuggets, but the Nuggets took them 7, sure, but they really only had their backs purely against the wall in, you could say, 2 games and 1 quarter. In game 2, when they were facing the prospect of being down 0-2 and going on the road, they won by 40. Then in game 5, they were down 8 points at the end of the third quarter at home, and they were looking to go down 3-2 in that series with the prospect of Denver having the chance to close them in game 6 in Denver. And accordingly, the Nuggets got outscored by like 20 points in the third quarter, or in the fourth quarter, rather. So it went from an 8-point lead to like a 12-point loss or something like that. Then in game 7, when it's win or go home, they won by whatever. I think it was 30, but they were up by as many as 40. So that's in basically 9 quarters, right? At 4, 8, and then 1 extra quarter. So in 9 quarters, I think that the Thunder won those 9 quarters by 90 points. So a margin of 10 points per quarter better for the Thunder when their backs were really against the wall. If they play with that level of commitment and focus and urgency, they would eviscerate the Pacers in the next 4 games. But who knows if they will? Because they just get complacent. They mess around. They don't play hard all the time. They play down to their opponents. So maybe in Jolly Josham's in one of the next 2 games, they'll get complacent, take their foot off the gas, and blow like a 15-point lead in the fourth quarter, and Tyrese Halliburton will hit another game winner. And then we'll be 2-2 coming back into game 5, where probably the Thunder will win by like 50 points. That's just the ebb and flow of them. But I think if maybe there's some sense of urgency now, stoked after the game 1 loss, like, hey, we're 3 games away from history, 3 games away from, marking us as one of the great teams ever, 3 games away from hoisting the Larry O. I think maybe we could see a gentleman sweep the rest of the way. Next thing we've got Mel Raynon. Welcome to you, Mel. And thank you very much for coming into the sponsor area of the lounge. Gary, what does Mel have for us this evening?
Hey, Skap, if you don't like a team and wins, you'll say that the other team choked and pooped themselves, e.g. 2022 finals.
I don't think so, Mel. I think I say a team choked and pooped themselves when a team chokes and poops themselves. I think 2022, are we talking about the Boston Golden State series? Is that what it is?
I would assume that's what he meant, but I'm not sure.
The 2022 NBA Finals, I don't know if Mel, if that is indeed what you mean. You said the 2022 playoffs or the 2022 finals. That was the Celtics and the Warriors. Was that? Look, the Celtics choked and pooped themselves in that, in my estimation. I don't know how to say it any other way. They were up 2-1 in that series. The Boston Celtics were up 2-1 because they were better. They were just the better team, I thought, in that series. They were up 2-1, and then they lost every game the rest of the way behind a lead player, Jason Tatum, who, look, Jason Tatum is a good kid. He is a good player. He is a very good player in the context of the NBA as a whole right now. He's probably been a top 5 player in the NBA for 4 years or so. He's been first team All NBA for 4 years. I think deservingly so when you look at his regular season resume and what he's accomplished. And when you factor in the totality of his career to this point and the championship that they won last year, yeah, he's an all-time great player. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. He's a top 100 whenever they do. The NBA does their top 100. So just for those of you who don't understand, top 50 all-time, 75 all-time designations. At the 50, when the NBA turned 50, they made an all 50 team. So like the 50 best players in 50 years. And then when it became 75 a few years ago, they made an all 75. So in 100 years, they're going to do an all 100, and Tatum will be an all 100 player, deservingly so. But the guy, and I want nothing more than a speedy and full recovery for him. I'm sick for him about the injury. You never want to see it, especially to a kid that's as good of a kid as he is off the court. But the guy, he chokes. He is a routine choke artist. He's a dog in big-time moments, and that finals was no different. He averaged 21 points per game in that finals on 36% shooting. Like 36% shooting for an entire series for a top 5 player in the NBA. That's an unmitigated choke job. I don't know what you want me to say to that. Like, they were the better team. They were up 2-1. They lost 3 straight to lose, and Tatum was garbage. Mel, I say that teams choke and poop themselves when they choke and poop themselves. If the Thunder win this series, okay, like, congrats, you won the championship. I'm not impressed. Like, I'm not going to tip my hat and do a dance and sing their praises. They're significantly the best team in the NBA. They should win. I'm not impressed. Sorry. Like, it's not going to be. I'm not going to celebrate Shea like it's some monumental performance. Like, he did what he should. He has one of the best teams ever assembled in my estimation. Like this team is going to go, or it should go, on a dynastic run. If the Thunder lose this series somehow, which I do not see coming, Mel, well, guess what I'm going to say? I'm not going to sit up here and say, congratulations to the Pacers for their tremendous performance in finding a way. I'm not going to say that. I'm going to sit up here and say the Thunder choked and pooped themselves, because they did. That's the only way they lose this series, Mel. So, yeah, no, if I don't, it has nothing to do with me like or dislike a team. That win. If a great team or a superior team or a team that should win loses in choking fashion, then I'm just going to call it like it is and say that they choked, Mel. That's just those are just the ABCs of me. And in fact, as much as I love Nikola Jokic, and as great as he was in that series against the Thunder this year, I mean, don't get me wrong, there is nobody else in the NBA. There is nobody else that's putting up 28, 15, and 7 on 48% in 7 games against this Thunder team when his team stinks. As bad as Nikola Jokic's team stinks. That team sucks. There is nothing around him. There is no pressure release for him. He has so much responsibility on his shoulders. He has to take double and triple teams every time because his team stinks so bad. There's no one else that's putting those numbers up and getting that getting those games as close as they were in those contexts. With that said, though, Nikola Jokic could have been as great as he was in 4 games, and they should have got swept, because that's how much better the Thunder are than the Nuggets. Like, the fact that the Nuggets got them into a Game 7 really largely is also still about the Thunder choking and pooping themselves. So, Mel, to your point, you're right. I say teams do that because they do, and I call them out when they do. Next, we've got in Leicester's. Oh, boy. Gary, look what we have here. Leicester's Banana. I don't know if this is the same Leicester's Banana. Maybe this is a side shoot.
I don't think there's two. I don't think there's two Leicester Banana in this world. I think there's only one, but it does look like the name is slightly altered and the icon has changed. This banana's been bruised and battered, apparently.
So, yeah, let me back this up a little bit here. Leicester's Banana, who's obsessed with, Gary, now you as well, and me doing things with bananas based on the outcomes of these games and series. Leicester's Banana, typically the handle is Leicester's Banana, and the avatar is a banana, a naked banana holding its peel with a little censored sign over the banana's private area. Now, Lester, after tonight's performance, the Pacers' performance tonight, Lester's banana has now become Lester's rotten banana. And there, not only is this banana bruised and beaten, the new avatar, it's got like 2 X's over his eyes. So I think this banana is deceased, maybe ultimately. Gary, go ahead and read Lester's bananas, the comment, the question or comment that accompanies this change.
The Pacers' loss has turned me rotten.
So Lester's banana was really feeling it, as were many of you out there in the lounge after game 1. You guys were really pumped up. You guys were pumping the chest out, peacocking around on Gary and myself. The I told you so's were coming. The Pacers in 4 or 5 were coming. Lester was thinking up all kinds of X-rated things that he wanted Gary and I to do with bananas after game 1. And now everything it seems like everyone is coming crashing back down to reality in the aftermath of this dominant performance by the Oklahoma City Thunder. Not even really did they live up to their full expectation. I think they still kind of mucked around a bit with this game, and they only won by 16. I think this game had the potential to be like a 30 point outcome, a 35 point beating. I think it was on the verge of that a couple times throughout the game. So Indiana still kept this game a little bit closer than I was expecting. But Lester, keep your head up. Still a long series. I don't think it's going to get any better for you, but don't write off your banana dreams yet. Next, we've got Jolly Josham's back in. Gary, go ahead and read this next one from Jolly.
And just to clarify, Lester, if you ever want me to do a stunt, how about I will suck a lemon? I'm not eating a banana, but I will suck a lemon, and I'll do it without squinting. Like, I can endure the sourness, the tanginess of a lemon better than anyone else.
Hey, now. So there you go, guys. Gary's ready to suck on some lemons here in the Skap Lounge, possibly. So keep your eyes peeled. Maybe if Indiana, I'll be eating bananas and doing who knows what else with them while Gary's sucking on lemons. This is getting very off track here. Let's get to Jolly Josham's next question or comment here.
Jolly Josham says, to me, be gentle to the Pacers fans, Gary. They were just not used to winning. They didn't know what they were talking about. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do.
So, yeah, it's look, I think me being a big Nuggets fan, I came on here after every Nuggets game shocked, stupefied, and amazed by the fact that they've won 1 game, then 2 games, then 3 games. And after each game, I always came on and I tempered my excitement, though, with the expectation that the Thunder are still the much, much better team. We're still going to straighten it out, still going to get it together, and still going to win the series. And so ultimately they did. The only time, and that's why I was so crushed, for those of you that I'm sure many of you were on and you remember it, the most dejected, depressed, and downtrodden that I've been on any of these streams since we started doing them about a month and a half ago was after game 5 of that series, because the Nuggets were up 8 at the end of 3. They were up like 9 with 9 minutes to go. And that was when I started thinking to myself, the Nuggets could actually win this game, and then they could close out and win the series in 6. That was the first time I really started to believe, with like 9 minutes left in game 5. And then they crushed me and tore my heart out. And the Thunder went on some ridiculous, like 23-8 run to end the game. And it was just crushed and destroyed me. And it showed why I live my life in a state of hopelessness and despair, because if I don't allow myself to be excited or have hope for anything, then I cannot be crushed and destroyed. But you guys, you Indiana fans, were too big for your britches after game 1. You got too excited. You were feeling yourself too much. You were pumping the chest, beating the chest too much, strutting around here, peacocking us after just 1 game. I thought that was a potential to go very bad for you guys for the rest of the series. But listen, you guys, your mouths, your fingertips have written checks that I don't know if you're going to be able to cash. We've got the receipts. we're gonna be talking about it the rest of the way to all of you who had Pacers in 4 and 5. We'll see what happens in game 3. But yeah, Jolly, I look, I'm being nice. I think I'm being nice to the Indiana fans tonight. Like, I'm not really rubbing it in or pouring any salt in the wound. I don't think Gary's been that bad either to the Indiana fans. So, we'll see. And look, ultimately, I'm hoping for a good series. Like Gary said last time, like, we don't want a 4-0 or a 4-1 beating, massacre where all these games, like this game was just not compelling tonight. We want close games, a close series, to drum up more interest and give us more things to talk about. So hopefully Indiana will deliver us with just that in the next game. Next thing, we've got Giuseppe DeRosa, another regular into the lounge. Welcome back, Giuseppe, and many thanks to you for being here. Go ahead and read Giuseppe's question or comment here, Gary.
Skap, you said the Clippers are the worst team ever, but I disagree. Actually, Giuseppe, to clarify, the worst franchise. We're talking about the worst run franchises. Not that the Clippers have never had any like good teams, because they have. Just to clarify. The Kings, Giuseppe continuing, Giuseppe says the Kings are the oldest team ever and only won one ring. That's embarrassing. What year did the Kings win? Was that like the 70s or something?
I didn't even know this. I'm looking it up now. The Sacramento Kings have won one NBA championship in their history. This title was secured when they were known as the Rochester Royals in 1951. Okay. So that's why I did not know that the Kings. When as you were reading that, I was like, when did the Sacramento Kings ever win a championship?
So they never had. They didn't. It was
so yes, I had to fact check that. But he's right. They did win one, but it was when they were the Rochester Royals, and it was back in 1951, which is ridiculous because to me, the modern era of NBA history, to me, starts in 1976, which is when the ABA and the NBA merged to create the modern day NBA as we know it. But still, I count the 60s, though. Like, I'll go back and look at the 60s and, like, Chamberlain and Russell and what those players did. But predating that, like, going to the early 50s, like, I think the NBA, like, I think it started in, like, 1947 or 48 or something like that. So 51 is crazy to go back that far. But and I actually did not know that the Rochester Royals became the Sacramento Kings, actually. So that's a bit of NBA history that I've just learned. So
technically the Sacramento Kings still haven't won.
They were in a different
city, they're a different team. I mean, same franchise, but the Sacramento Kings under that moniker is not won. So,
right.
Because the Sacramento Kings have been around, since like the 70s? They've been around a long time.
Yeah. Now, let's see. When were the Clippers formed, though?
I'm not sure.
1970 is when the Clippers were founded. And to me, yeah, I mean, I just think the LA Clippers, this question was posed like 3 or 4 nights or whatever, 3 or 4 shows ago in the Skap After Dark Lounge, who, in my estimation, and Gary actually was asked to, who in our estimation was the worst franchise in NBA history. And I think Gary and I agreed fairly quickly with each other on this one, that to me, in my estimation, the Clippers are not merely the worst NBA franchise, but one of the very worst franchises in all of sports history. There's very few teams that I would put up there with them. The Detroit Lions, honestly, were one that I would. And the Lions, they're my Lions now. I'm a big Lions fan now because I love Danny Campbell. And I like a number of players on that roster, most notably Amon-Ra St. Brown, the sun god, if you will. So, yeah, I love me some Detroit Lions circa 2025. But if you go back and look at the Detroit Lions for the entirety of their tenure in the NFL, they are heinous ass. I mean, they are just putridly run. They flushed Barry Sanders' career down the toilet. They flushed Calvin Johnson, Megatron's career down the toilet. So I'd say really the only team that rivals the Clippers in terms of futility and putridness would be the Detroit Lions. So I'm still, Giuseppe, I'm disagreeing with you. I'm hanging with the Clippers, though Gary wants to get back in.
Cleveland Browns. Yeah,
The Cleveland Browns, though, were good. Perhaps not in NFL history. If you go predate the Super Bowl era, the Browns were not good if you just start at the Super Bowl era, which was the AFL NFL merge point, like
that's
60,
when I count
67, 68. But if you predate the modern era, remember, like the Jim Brown Browns were like, they were very good. Like they were winning NFL championships like every other year. Jim Brown won like 3 or 4 league MVPs. But yes, in modern NFL history, you're right. The Browns are also bad, but I would still say the Lions are worse in my opinion. But that's just it is a close call.
I would agree with that.
It is a close call. Next we've got what do we have here? M Reese 89 with no question or comment. Just wanted to drop us some love here and support us. Thank you, M Reese. I was just scrolling down to see if another M Reese was on here or not. But no, nothing else. Just wanted to give us some love. So thank you so much, M Reese, for your generosity here in supporting us. I do appreciate you. We've got next in. I keep wanting to say Lester's banana, but it's Lester's rotten banana with the dead banana now is back in. Gary, go ahead and read this second one from Lester's rotten banana.
Lester, I don't even know why you're saying this because this isn't obvious that neither of us ever agreed to anyways. I just told you what I will agree to, though, however. Okay, so he says, looks like you won't be feeding each other bananas. Yeah.
Yeah, this was Lester's dream, was that if the Pacers won the series, that we would be feeding each other bananas. But we are not in the same area. First of all, we are separated by hours away. I think we are in the same state, but many hours away. And
not
then
many, like 4.
Yeah, like 4 hours away.
Many hours away.
Right. So, and then Gary also has some dietary restrictions as well. So he does not eat bananas. I love bananas. I eat 2 a day.
I do too.
So, but Gary will, Lester, suck on some lemons for you. So you can start, you can keep your dream of me doing some banana related thing for you. And then obviously you can think of some lemon centric stuff for moderator Gary to do possibly if in the event the Pacers somehow turn this into a series. Okay, we've got Xavier DeGod in now, who generally throws lots of hypothetical super chat questions our way. So let's see. I see only one for right now. So let's see what the question is, or the question or comment from Xavier. And Xavier, thank you for coming back in and sponsoring us here.
Wow, this is an easy one from Xavier. I'm not used to this from him. Kobe is better than Duncan because he led his U.S. 2008 Olympic team to a gold medal, while Duncan led his 2004 to a bronze medal.
I mean, I do have Kobe above Duncan. I don't prescribe to any Duncan slander, though. I like Duncan. I respect Duncan greatly. I have Duncan on my Mount Rushmore too. So he's in my top 4 all-time players. It's just I have Kobe higher on that mountain. Kobe is my 2 all-time behind only Michael Jordan. So there will be no Kobe slander. However, that Xavier, you do raise a good point. That was prime Tim Duncan. Keep in mind, he won his first NBA championship in '99. So that's like whatever. He was I think he was 22 when he won that because he played all 4 years in college. Before coming in. So in 2004, that would have put him like 27 years old. So you had prime Tim Duncan and prime Allen Iverson, by the way, and LeBron James and Dwayne Wade and Carmelo Anthony, and they got a bronze medal. I'll never forget watching that. Because I am so damn old now, I want to say in 2004, I was in college. I was a sophomore in college, I think. And I was working still. One of my all-time favorite jobs, guys, by the way. I was a summer lifeguard at my community pool growing up from the age of 15 through 21-ish. So I was working as a summer lifeguard, just living the dream. And I remember vividly watching that game, that first game, if you remember, that the U.S. lost was against Puerto Rico. They got absolutely worked by 20 points against Puerto freaking Rico. And it was the first game they had lost, international game they had lost in like 50 some international games. The first time they had ever lost in an international game since bringing NBA players. An absolute humiliating performance. And then, of course, they went on and lost more games throughout that Olympic run, and they got humiliatingly bronze. That was one of the most humiliating moments of any American's lifetime. At least it should have been. When the U.S., that iteration of the Dream Team, look, we all know there's only one Dream Team, and it was the Dream Team in 1992 in Barcelona, Spain. But that they call every year like the Dream Team or whatever. The superstar American pro players that they sent that year got a bronze. Then, look, they brought in Mike Krzyzewski, and they brought and Jerry Colangelo in, and they overhauled the whole thing into 2006 in the international tournament circuit, and they got bronze again. They went to some other tournament and they got bronze again, and they got beat by Greece, got beat up by Greece in that tournament. So then is when after that they're like, well, we brought in Coach K and we brought in Colangelo and we got serious with it. We demanded that all of these players make 4-year contributions or commitments, I should say, so that they could gel and grow together. After that second straight bronze, they limped to Kobe and said, yo, we need you, Black Mamba. We have to have you to salvage to save America. Kobe Bryant, please come save America. And so he did. Kobe, went and, didn't do much during the first 6 games or whatever, how many other games they played in the Olympics in Greece that year in 2008. He averaged like 14, 15 points, played primarily defense. They probably didn't need him to get into the gold medal game that year, but then in the gold medal game, Kobe won that game. Kobe saved the United States of America. They were 100% going to lose that game to Spain. If Kobe wasn't on that team, it was another silver. They weren't getting gold that year. Kobe scored or assisted on 15 straight points in the fourth quarter. And even there's a great documentary on Netflix that you should go watch, The Redeem Team. It talks about Kobe. Really, you could see even the guys talking about it, the Dwayne Wades, Carmelo Anthony's, even LeBron James, who were admitted that Kobe was cut differently than them. At least they admitted it at that time when they watched what the process that Kobe went through to work, the workouts that he did and everything like that. He was different. They learned things from him then. But really, my major takeaway from I will never, like I said, I will never forget watching the U.S. lose that game to Puerto Rico in 2004. I'll never forget watching that Spain game, that gold medal game in 2008, where you saw the best of the best, the elite, the best the world had to offer, the LeBron Jameses, all of them basically scared. I saw fear in basically every player's eyes, minus Dwayne Wade, who was also big in that game. But Kobe was the one that wanted it. While you saw fear in everybody else's eyes, you just saw excitement out of Kobe Bryant's eyes as he went about doing what he did in the final period of that game, that gold medal game. So, Xavier, good point by you in bringing that up and bringing that heroic 2008 performance by the great Kobe Bryant. And of course, as you guys all know, I love to talk me some Kobe Bryant. I will never shy away from Kobe specific questions or comments. So thank you, Xavier. Next, and we've got Burka. I know how to pronounce it now, Burka. Thanks to Marco, who told me the proper pronunciation of Burka, who is one of my Serbian brethren, who is hoping that I can make my Eastern European swing and can catch up with Burka and Marco later in the summer. So, Gary, what does my main man from Serbia, Burka, have for us tonight?
5 a.m. for bro. Thought on Novak getting his 100th title.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting into, and now we're talking about the Joker right here, the other Joker, right, Gary?
I have no clue. I don't know.
Let me see how many. I
don't know who Novak is.
Well, Novak Djokovic, the legendary Serbian tennis player, Gary. I want to see how many titles, or is it 1,000 that he. I don't know. I'm trying to see. I want to make sure.
I thought he had retired. So, and I thought he got injured a couple years ago and was forced to retire.
No. You're thinking. You're confusing. You're confusing people here, Gary.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I don't follow tennis closely. So
the Joker lost the French. It was the French Open today. Concluded today, actually. Thank you for bringing this up, Burka, because I actually do like tennis. The French Open culminated today in an absolute gem for the ages today. This kid, Carlos Alcaraz, played Sinner. He's I think it's Yannick Sinner is the name of his opponent. And Sinner had been on an absolute tear in the French Open. Yeah, I don't even think he had lost a set coming into this final against Alcaraz. He went up and won the first two against Alcaraz, and then Alcaraz won the last three, and the fifth and final was an absolute instant classic, 7-6, a bunch of break points. It was exhilarating. Anyway, Novak Djokovic lost to Sinner, I think maybe the semifinals of this French Open. So no, Djokovic is still playing, still at a high level. He's 38 years old, so is getting a little long in the tooth, so to speak, for tennis. But yes, he is Djokovic. He is Serbian, a famous, well-renowned Serb to go along with the other Joker, Nikola Jokic. And I'm a big Novak Djokovic fan, and I'm almost certain, Gary, I'm going to check it out here. Novak, I think, has 24 major championships, which would be the most ever. Grand Slam single majors. I just want to check and confirm that number is 24 and that it is number one all time. So bear with me, guys. I hate to get things wrong. I just want to see. Yes, the Joker has 24. Rafael Nadal has 22. Roger Federer has 20. And then Pete Sampras has 14. Those are your top four in order. So the Joker, Novak with 24, most ever. But I'm gonna tell you this. This kid, this Carlos Alcaraz that I mentioned that won today, this kid is an absolute stud. He's got 5 now. This one today in the French was his 5th he just turned 22. Like, I think his birthday was in May. So he just turned 22 in May, and he already has 5. Like, so look out. Like, this kid is an all-timer. He's coming. Like, the future has arrived, and he could assault the Joker's all-time record of 24. Though the Joker, like I said, is still playing. Great question, Burka, and shout out to another legendary Serbian in another Joker.
And just to clarify, I do actually like tennis. I just don't keep up with it. So if it's on, I'll watch it. I just don't see it on much. And, you know, they say, in just a side note, they say that Serena's the greatest women's tennis player of all time. I'm sorry. I don't think she beats Martina. I don't see that. I think Martina's the greatest women's tennis player. I just don't see Serena beat. I mean, she could beat her in a match, but I mean, consistently, I would see Martina. I remember, who is it, Chris Everett, who was so good but just could never beat Martina. And there was running jokes about, like, SNL did a sketch how every occupation Chris Everett went in, and then Martina would come into occupation and top her.
Yeah.
What do you think? Who do you think wins, Martina or Serena?
I was just looking at the Grand Slam total championships in women's singles. I thought, I was under the impression Serena Williams had that by a lot. But someone by the name of Margaret Court, who I don't even know who that is she is the number one. She has 24. Serena has 23. Steffi Graf has 22. So that is your list. Martina has only 18. But then, of course, look, Serena and Venus were legendary doubles players as well. So Serena not only has a great legendary career as a singles player, but she was great in the double circuit as well with her sister Venus, her older sister Venus. So I don't know, Gary. I think I'm probably going to have to side on the side of Serena on this one.
I think Martina's. It's kind of like LeBron has more points than Jordan, but it doesn't mean he's better. So Serena may have more titles. She's not better. One-on-one you have to bet $100,000 on Serena or Martina. I'm taking Martina.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard because I've never seen Martina play. So like, it's hard.
Okay. So I remember her when I was a kid. She was like the Michael Jordan of women's tennis.
Yeah. So I feel I can't really confidently, I feel like pick that, but no, nonetheless, great. Thank you for bringing up tennis. I like tennis. I don't mind talking tennis. So I appreciate the question. Next, we've got Rob Temsin. Go ahead. What is it with what's the comment from Rob?
Okay. Nikita
Kucherov. This is the hockey. This is a hockey centric.
Okay.
So he's saying Kucherov greater than McDavid, which I mean, Kucherov is certainly a better, more decorated winner and champion. We'll see what this. Kucherov has hoisted that cup. So McDavid is a great individual player. Like I said, he is hockey royalty. But look, in no sport is the championship trophy more revered than in hockey. So McDavid has never lifted that cup above his head. He's never stood at the top of the mountain, so to speak, in the NHL world. So we'll see. He's right there. It's a 1-1 series. It could have went either way. He could be up 2-0 or down 0-2. Either that could have went either way for Edmonton and Florida. Either one could have won both games, lost both games. It's right where it should be then, in my estimation, split 1-1. So, we will just have to keep our eyes on it. I think as the series shifts back to Florida now, I would favor Florida now that they got the split in Edmonton. But who knows? Stranger things have happened. Connor McDavid, I think he needs to find a way to get this Stanley Cup. This is a rematch now. They played each other. Edmonton and Florida played each other in last year's Stanley Cup, and Florida, of course, won that one. So we'll see if the script flips moving forward in the rest of the way in that series. Next in, Marco, who I mentioned. What is up, my Serbian brother? As I mentioned, Marco, a moment ago when we were talking about Burka. So go ahead and read this one from our main guy, Marco. Gary.
Hi, brothers. I wish Tom Thibodeau goes to Denver. Did you check out that video, Skap, that I sent you? Because Breakfast Ball talked a lot about why Thibodeau actually got fired, and there had been tension there for building for a while.
Well, and they talk about, yes, there were, I guess, multiple players mentioned Thibodeau in exit interviews unfavorably. And look, Thibodeau is not for everybody. And Marco, unfortunately, look, they've already lifted the interim tag off of Adelman. David Adelman will be the full-time head coach moving forward. But I actually don't dislike that I like Thibodeau to Denver. Actually, I kind of wish that too. I think I would probably prefer Thibodeau. They need a defensive makeover there, I think, although they were much better defensively under Adelman. I think they could use a defensive presence, another voice. Maybe Tom is just he's still owed 2 years from New York. Maybe and he got fired late in the cycle. Maybe he might want to just come on as a special assistant and be, just hang out a year with Adelman and be like an assistant head coach, an assistant coach and like defensive coordinator, like he was for the Celtics in 07 and 08 and 09 or whatever it was. So that's actually a pretty good idea, Marco. I'll co-sign that. I appreciate you checking back in. And Marco's back in again, back-to-back comments here and super chats from Marco. Thank you very much, Marco, for your continued kind support and generosity of us. Gary, what's the second question or comment from Marco?
Gary, Greg Popovich is also a Serbian. Okay, good to know. Skap, if Greg coached Denver instead of Malone, you think they win more than one? Probably wouldn't lose to Minnesota.
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, Popovich, any which way you want to slice it, is on the Mount Rushmore to me of all-time coaches. But Popovich is also very clever with personnel issues and matters. So I think Popovich knows how to pick people around him, players. He's got a good eye for that. I feel like if Popovich were the coach in Denver, we would not have been plunged into the darkness of the Calvin Booth regime. I feel like Popovich would have got up with ownership, mixed it up with that village idiot Kroenke, Josh Kroenke, that nincompoop owner, entitled, silver-spooned son of rode the nepotism pony into the management room of the Denver Nuggets. He's the son of Stan Kroenke and like Ann Walton, I think her name is. For those of you who don't know, this village idiot, like 43-year-old Josh Kroenke, who has flushed Nikola Jokic's career down a toilet. He is the son of these like billionaire parents. His mother, the heiress to the Walmart fortune, and his dad, Stan Kroenke, he built this like mega sports news or entertainment, whatever. He owns about, I don't know, like 100 radio stations or something like that. So anyway, they're worth billions. And Josh Kroenke, who's achieved nothing on his own to his own merit, somehow slides into to manage the Denver Nuggets, and he's destroyed them. So I'm thinking if Popovich were there, he would have got up there and mixed it up with Kroenke and found a way to not let Calvin Booth take over as general manager for whatever it was, like only 2.5 years, 2.5 years too much, as it turns out. So, Marco, I agree. I do not think, first of all, probably they would have won the championship last year if they had Popovich. And then I think maybe we wouldn't have had this debacle, this nightmare regime of Calvin Booth. So I think maybe they would just be looking much better positioned, much more favorably for the future moving forward. So, yeah, just unfortunate for Nikola Jokic to be surrounded by idiots at every level, primarily ownership and general managers. Next in, we've got, we've got Vacation Wealth Partners is in next, who is a very generous benefactor and donor of us here in the Skap Lounge. So many thanks for you coming in here and being so generous for us, Vacation Wealth Partners. Actually, 2 in a row I see from them. So many thanks to you. And Gary, go ahead with the first question or comment from Vacation Wealth Partners, and then we've got another one back to back from them. So thank you again, and go ahead, Gary.
Skap, who made it on the top 75 that you didn't agree with? That's an interesting question, by the way. And who got snubbed that you would have added? Fun fact for the few who don't know, Kobe, only finals MVP to win multiple rings without a top 75 teammate.
Well, and it's back to back. I think that Duncan did it too, because I do not think Tony Parker or Manu Ginobili are top 75 designated players. So that would actually be, he won, I think 4. I think Duncan won 4 of his 5 rings. Well, no, he won 2 with David Robinson. He has 5. He won 2 with David Robinson, who is top 50. And then he won 3 with Parker and Ginobili only, and no David Robinson. So Duncan actually won 3 rings, I think, without top 75 players. But he, as we know, Tim Duncan did not win a single consecutive championship. He never went back-to-back. He never defended a title. Kobe is the only player in NBA history to go back-to-back without a single top 75 teammate, I think. But we'll see. I'm going to look. I've got the list right here. So we will look at, I will see if either Tony Parker or Manu Ginobili is on it. I think this is alphabetized, and it does not look like either are. So that would be one. And I think I'm pretty certain that Kobe and Duncan are the only players in NBA history that have done that. But Kobe, of course, went back to back. I would say, honestly, the biggest snub, I think, on it, and I'm not I don't want this to be a necessarily a commentary on what I think of Dwight Howard for his what kind of a teammate or a player he was, because Kobe, of course, notoriously or famously, I should say, hated Dwight Howard. Howard played with Kobe for 1 year, and Kobe hated him, said he was basically a loser and didn't take winning and losing seriously. And of course, there was that legendary exchange between Kobe and Dwight Howard, like the year after, I think it was, when Howard was on a different team than at that point. Kobe basically just picked a fight with Howard on the court, wanted to fight, looked like he wanted to fist fight Dwight Howard. Howard kind of slinked away from it, and Kobe just with that shit, he just shook his head over and over again, called him soft multiple times, said he was a bitch. You could read his lips. So obviously, Kobe Bryant did not think very highly of Dwight Howard. Therefore, I really don't think very highly of Dwight Howard either, by extension. But I will say, to me, Dwight Howard is not a top 75 player. And in my opinion, he should be. Just to run down some of the career achievements of Dwight Howard. He was top 5 in MVP season end voting 4 straight years. He won 3 consecutive Defensive Player of the Year awards, 3 straight Defensive Player of the Years. And he finished, he was All-NBA Defensive First Team 4 straight years. He was All-NBA First Team 5 years in a row. So Dwight Howard, 5 consecutive First Team All-NBA selections, and then 4 of the 5 years he was First Team All-NBA Defense to go along with it. He was Second Team All-NBA Defense the 5th year, and he was Defensive Player of the Year 3 times in a row. And his career, he's a career 16 and 12 point per game guy, which is extraordinarily depreciated because his last 7 years were just ass. If you look at it until his age 27 season, he entered the league at 19. If you look at it basically from his second year to his 7th or 8th year, let's just look at it. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 year span of time where he made 7 consecutive All-Star appearances, and he was doing all that stuff I just highlighted, the 5 All-NBA first-team selections in a row. He was a 19 and 13 guy. So he was averaging 19 points per game, 13 rebounds, and 2.5 blocks per game. This guy was an absolute elite performer for about a 6 or 7 year span. He was the best big man in the NBA. So the fact that he's not on the top 75 somehow is a big oversight to me. That is a big snubbery, if you ask me, Vacation Wealth Partners. But great question and great sprinklage in there of the additional Kobe trivia there. Obviously, as I said previously, I love to talk Kobe. Now, but Vacation Wealth is back in. Go ahead, Gary, read this next one.
Skap, if you're going to a fancy party, you could only bring one friend. Do you choose moderator Gary or Lester's banana?
So, in Vacation Wealth Partners, just to be clear, these are my only 2 choices. On Earth, if I'm going to a fancy party, the only 2 selections I have would be either moderator Gary or Lester's banana. That's a tough call. It's a tough decision. I think I hate to play favorites. I would just try to get a second invite. I would try to get a +2 and take both Lester and Gary. And Lester could bring a whole bushel of bananas and can kind of be plying the party, handing out the party, handing out bananas to the establishment that we're at. And it's actually funny. I'm looking at who's next on the line. I'm not jumping ahead now. This Vacation Wealth Partners. This is the exact order that the next super chat comes in. It is in fact Lester's banana. So following Vacation Wealth Partners' question about Lester's banana at a fancy party with me, it is in fact Lester's rotten banana back in. Go ahead and read. I see some emojis here. I can barely wait to hear what this one is. Go ahead, Gary, and read this one from Lester's rotten banana.
Lemon, Gary, cucumber, or eggplant is the only way to go.
So Gary, what Lester's banana is saying is if the Pacers win this, you're going to be sucking on something, but it ain't going to be a lemon, my friend. It's going to be some phallic shaped item of some sort. If it ain't going to be a banana, you mentioned previously that you do you eat cucumbers, so you might be eating a cucumber.
I might eat a cucumber. I'm not sucking a cucumber. Big difference,
So there you go, Lester. You might get Gary to eat a cucumber, but he's probably not going to suck on it. But Lester, thank you for coming back in, checking back in again with yet another inappropriate super chat. I appreciate you. Next in, we have a regular. The Enforcer is in, another very generous benefactor of us here in the lounge. Typically, so many thanks to you, to the Enforcer, for being in here again. And I see some kind of 2001 question here, which I know well about that, obviously being Kobe's second championship. Go ahead and read that question or comment, Gary.
Speaking of the 2001 Sixers, they were a better team and squeezed game one versus a similarly or even less dominant team. What are your thoughts on OKC giving up game one against a lesser team than those Sixers?
Yeah, the Enforcer is in regularly. So maybe you missed me in the lounge after their first game. I was disgusted when I came in to the lounge following game one. Disgusted with the embarrassing and pathetic performance of the Oklahoma City Thunder. Every player on the team, including SGA, who had 38 points in that game, and specifically Mark Dagnall, who looks like a damn fool half the time. Coach of the year last year, like he played Chet Holmgren 24 minutes total last game, and Isaiah Hartenstein only 17 minutes total. They got obliterated on the glass, 56-39, which was a major reason they lost that game. So I was absolutely and thoroughly disgusted. This should be an easy sweep, in my estimation, for the Thunder. No doubt about it. This is the best team in NBA history based on the rankings in terms of the SRS, that simple rating system on that scale, which ranks the margin of differential as well as the strength of schedule and the opponents, the quality of opponents that you're facing. The best team ever by a big margin in the Thunder are playing the 13th best team in SRS this year. So the 13th best team this year is playing the best team ever. It's humiliating that this is even going to go beyond 4. So I'm disgusted, Enforcer. But I will say this. I do not think, as dominant as the Thunder are, I do think that the 2001 Lakers happen to be the best single season team in NBA history. That's my take on them. Not the regular season, but if you look at their run in the playoffs, they were so utterly dominant in the postseason. It goes beyond that, though. If you look, they were 15-1, because it was still a best of 5, I believe, in that first round back then. But they were 15-1 in the postseason. They played, I think every team they played won at least 50 games, including their 8-1 opponent. And then, so it was one of the hardest paths ever. I think it was the second most difficult path ever played, other than the 95 Rockets path. So the second hardest set of opponents, but then they put forth the second highest net differential. So they beat that field by the second biggest margin in NBA history, despite the fact it was the second hardest field played. So that's how utterly dominant they were. But not only did they go 16-1, they ended the regular season 8-0. So they actually won 24 of their last 25 games that year. 24-1 to end the season. And the only loss was this first game that you referenced in the 2001 finals against the Sixers, when league MVP that year, Allen Iverson, had 50, and they lost a close game in overtime. That's it. That was their only one and only loss in the last 25 games of the season. And that, to your point, that Sixers team was really good. They won 58 games that season. The Lakers that season won only 58. And the Sixers that year had league MVP Allen Iverson, sixth man of the year Aaron McKie, defensive player of the year in Dikembe Mutombo, and that year's coach of the year in Larry Brown. So that team was damn good. And they got the only one win on a 50-piece by AI in overtime. And then the Lakers went on and, of course, won the 4 that followed. But total disgust, Enforcer. That's my feelings about the pathetic performance in Game 1 by the Oklahoma City Thunder. But great question. And again, thanks for your support. And we've got Marco in next. Welcome back in, Marco. Thank you again for your continued support of us. Gary, go ahead and read this one. I have a feeling I'm not going to like this one.
Kings robbed big time against Lakers in 2000s, particularly, I'm adding this, 2002 Western Conference Finals.
Well, that's what he's obviously talking about is the 2002 Western Conference Finals, where there's obviously some bit of there's some controversy surrounding it. There is the Tim Donaghy scandals that it was percolating around that time, where obviously Tim Donaghy is the former disgraced NBA referee who was at the center of that betting scandal, and he was the official for that. I believe he was the official for Game 6, which the Lakers shot a pretty startling discrepancy free throw wise against the Kings at home in Staples in Game 6 to even the series 3-3 and send it to a Game 7. Look, again, I am one that I've been saying I'm not picking and choosing. I'm not cherry picking. I'm not refusing to talk about this or glossing over it only because I'm a big Kobe Bryant fan. I have said it time and time again. I do not talk officiating. I do not care. I do not think it matters. I think it all washes out. I think it all is even at the end. Just win the games. Ultimately, the Sacramento Kings faced a large discrepancy from the free throw line in Game 6. They still had a Game 7 at home in Arco. They took that game, went into an overtime. First of all, home teams typically win Game 7s in NBA history. They had that game at home, and they lost it in overtime because they missed a lot of free throws. Let me go to the exact game. That would be 2002 Western Conference Finals. I think they missed about 10 free throws or more in that Game 7. In Game 7, they lost 112 to 106. Again, in overtime, they got outscored 12-6 in the overtime period. And in the game, for all the free throw conspiracy theorists out there, the Lakers shot 27 free throws. I'm sorry, they attempted 33 free throws in that game. And the Kings attempted 30. So the Lakers shot 33 free throws in Game 7. The Kings shot 30. The big difference, the Lakers, who typically did not shoot well from the free throw line, thanks to Shaquille O'Neal generally being terrible from the line, he was 11 of 15 in that game. Conversely, the home team Kings, who lost by 6 in overtime, shot just 16 of 30 from the free throw line. 14 missed free throws out of 30 at home in an overtime loss in Game 7. I have absolutely no remorse or anything to say about officiating in Game 6 about the Kings. Make your damn free throws at home in Game 7, and you win the series, and you stop that three-peat. They didn't. Kobe and Shaq, obviously, the two best players to me. Look, we can say Tim Duncan is in the mix. Two of the three best players on planet Earth at that point, in my estimation. Kobe, Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal. I think any which order you want to lay them out. In the early 2000s, it was Shaq, Kobe, Duncan are the three best players, and then a huge drop-off for everybody else. In that Game 7 on the road in Arco, Shaq, 35 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists. Kobe Bryant, 30 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 steals. So Kobe and Shaq, 65 points combined on the road in a Game 7 in the WCF to get back and go and get that three-peat. They were the two best players on the planet, and they were the better team. Maybe not the better team, but they had the two best players. And back then, that was a time in the NBA where just if you had the best player or the two best players, like you just won. So
if Shaq has a higher free throw percentage than you, then you don't deserve to go to the finals.
Right, exactly. But yet people will still talk a lot about that game, that whole series, that game 6. That to me, that is the best series I think I've ever seen. The 2002 NBA Western Conference Finals, to still 30 years of watching this sport, and that to me is still the best game, the best series I have ever seen in my life. The Lakers won game 1 by 7. The Kings won game 2 by 6. The Kings went up 2-1 in the series, won by 13 in game 3. Then the Lakers won by 1 point in game 4. Then the Kings won by 1 point in game 5. Then the Lakers won a close 4-point game in game 6, that controversial game 6 that I mentioned about the free throw. Then the Lakers won an overtime game in game 7 on the road. Like that to me is still the best series I think I've ever seen in my entire life of watching the NBA. But Marco, you know I love you, and I appreciate your ongoing support. I'm sorry. Next in, we've got Giuseppe DeRosa, a regular as well. Welcome back into you, Giuseppe. What does Giuseppe have for us, Gary?
Do you got Larry Bird over LeBron? Skap the GOAT.
Well, thank you very much, Giuseppe, for your kind words of support of me. I obviously appreciate that. I do have Larry Bird over LeBron. I have Bird and Magic are somewhere right like next to each other. I don't even know if I can differentiate them. They're floating somewhere around like 6, 7-ish on my all-time list. And LeBron is like fringe top 10. He's like 9th, 10th-ish, maybe 11th-ish at this point. So I do, to your point, have Larry Bird. He is my greatest small forward of all time over LeBron James. So great question, Giuseppe. And I don't mind declaring proudly that yes, I do have Bird over LeBron still. Next in is Daniel Perkins. Daniel, welcome into you. Thank you for being here in the sponsor area of the lounge. Gary, what does Daniel have for us?
Can anybody compete with OKC next season or years beyond that?
Absolutely not, in my opinion. Not with the current configuration of the league, the way the CBA is set up right now, the way the other teams are built around them. I think the one thing that I cannot see right now and that I cannot speculate on is where does Giannis Antetokounmpo go? So barring some kind of a super team type pairing of Giannis and some other like 2 top level players, I don't really see any way that anybody could compete with the Thunder. But again, I don't know. Giannis, in my opinion, will be moved. I think the expectation is still based on the Vegas line that his most likely team next year will be Milwaukee. But if he is moved sometime within the next 2 or 3 weeks, probably it will happen within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I should say, around the trade or the NBA draft, because I think the draft and pieces in this draft will factor in prominently to a potential trade. So if Giannis goes somewhere and teams up with some super pairing, maybe that team will stand a chance of beating the Oklahoma City Thunder and at least competing with them. As it stands right now, no. The next 4 or 5 years, I would say that the Thunder should win 3 or 4 championships because they're just that good. And like, look at what they're doing. They're just messing around. They're just toying with teams in these playoffs. They are resoundingly the best team. Whenever they actually care to play for a full 48 minutes, they trounce whatever team they're playing. So they're only going to get better, though. They're still a young, inexperienced team that is still finding their way around playing for these 48 minutes for 4 games in series and keeping that level of focus and finishing and winning games. So like, just imagine like they will be better next year. Plus, I didn't even mention the fact that they have 16 first-round picks between now and 2031. I think they have control of as many first-round picks or more than any team in the entire NBA. And they have control of some good picks. So like they have a lot more assets that they can utilize. They'll be getting better, whether it be just via the draft and drafting good players or packaging those picks and making trades. I don't think if they win a championship, they don't want to mess with, screwing up the cohesion of this team and the players that they have in place. But if they wanted to, if they really wanted to, they can present the best package of any team in the league to the Bucks for Giannis. They can easily go out and get Giannis themselves while keeping Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So just imagine that. Now, I don't think they will, but they could. They could structure him within their it might be hard actually to make the contracts work because they don't owe anybody that much money other than those three big guys. But they could absolutely go do a move like that if they really wanted to. So, Daniel, no, to your question, absolutely not. This is the Thunder's NBA now, in my opinion. Marco is back in again. What's up, Marco? Welcome back. And we've got Burka in next as well. We've got back-to-back comments by my Serbian brethren here. Go ahead and read Marco's first.
Hey, Marco, is that your cat on the photo icon? What do you think about that cat, Jay? It's a pretty cat, isn't it?
That's a gorgeous, that is a beautiful cat, Marco. If that is in fact your cat, I love animals, obviously. As those of you know that are watching, my best friend is a 12-pound Shih Tzu named Luna, my assistant, who is laying right next to me. And Gary, moderator Gary, for those of you that might not know, big cat person. Gary has his best friend is a cat. So my best friend is a dog. His best friend is a cat. So I definitely like Marco's cat. That is a gorgeous cat if it is in fact your cat, Marco. But what does Marco have?
Years ago, I had a cat named Kobe and a cat named Ginobili. I named them that because Kobe and Ginobili would trash talk each other in Italian when they faced each other. So, fun fact there. All right, Marco says Serbia beat USA in Indianapolis 2002.
Yeah, for those of you who watch my content regularly, you know that I was a big. I said that I was humiliated and ashamed to be an American in 2004 when we got bronze, and then fast forward to this year where I was rooting for Serbia to beat the U.S. in the Olympics this year because I dislike so many players on the American team this year. And I, of course, love the great Nikola Jokic. So, and I think Serbia was controlling that game the whole way. They were outplaying the Americans the whole way. They deserved to win that game. But there was, again, I talk about it all the time, there was some crap foul, moving screen, like a defensive foul through a screener on a Durant three-point shot with like 3 minutes to go in that game, with Serbia up like 8 at the time. And then so the 3 for Durant counted. Then the U.S. got to shoot a free throw for the off the ball foul, which Steph made. Then they made another basket. So it was a 6-point trip. So it went from 8 points to 2. And that's like the Serbia just they couldn't hold off the run then at that point. So I think that, and it was a crappy international call. I don't like that call at all. Like you count the basket, you give them a free throw, and you give them possession. Ridiculous. So it was that which cost Serbia, my Serbian squad, the win that they should have had against the U.S. in these Olympics. Serbia would have won the gold medal in my estimation. They still won a bronze, which shout out to them and the great Nikola Jokic for winning a bronze medal. And great point, Marco, on that 2002 game, USA, when they played in 02. And now we go to another Serbian brethren of mine, Burka. I like that it is back-to-back comments from both of my Serbian bros here. So what is Burka's latest here?
Also, Novak dedicated his 24th Grand Slam to Kobe.
That is awesome. I did not know that. We talked a little tennis earlier, and I mentioned how I like the original Joker, because look, Novak Djokovic is 38 years old. Nikola Jokic is only 30. He turns 31, I think, in February next year. So yeah, Novak is the first Joker. And I did not know that he dedicated his 24th. I mentioned that he is the all-time leader in men's single Grand Slam major tournaments. It's with 24, that's 2 above Nadal and 4 above Federer. But apparently, according to Burka here, Novak, the original Joker, dedicated that 24th record-breaking slam to the late, great Kobe Bryant. So just makes me like the original Joker even more. Burka, great trivia there, a great bit of trivia there. I appreciate that. And we're just going to keep the Kobe-centric theme going here because Steph is in, another regular here in the lounge. Welcome in, Steph. Welcome back, and I should say, and thank you for being here. Gary, what is this? I see a Kobe question or comment here. Go ahead and read that one.
I never watched Kobe once while he was alive, but the league just isn't the same without him. His mentality and skill has been lost to time.
Yeah, I think Kobe, we got into a big Tom Cruise discussion. I think it was on the last show, which was an endless show.
Next comment.
What's that?
Tom Cruise question, next comment.
Oh, wow, look at that. Would you look, guys, I'm not looking ahead. I'm just segueing in perfectly. But yes, the last show we were on, which was the after game one, which was an endless show. It was like 3.5 hours long. Because I just kept getting questions and comments. It was a very Tom Cruise-centric show. I love Tom Cruise so much. And I actually just watched a documentary which was called Tom Cruise, The Last Movie Star, which was a great documentary. I think I found it on Amazon Prime. But and it's so true. It is so utterly true that Tom Cruise is not only the greatest movie star ever, he is the last one. There will never be another like him with the changing dynamic of the industry in Hollywood and also essentially the death of the star system. We're now into like more of a studio system, and it's really just about property and, these huge like high level Marvel movies and different superhero and Star Wars. I just saw Ryan Gosling's going to do a Star Wars movie coming up. So it's essentially these high level properties, not about the actors, where it was like Tom Cruise just created and made movies, what they were back then, which is what all movie stars did back in its heyday. But anyway, I compared Tom Cruise to Kobe Bryant because Kobe Bryant to me was like the last alpha. He was the final gunslinger alpha, hero ball centric player. Like all the things that Kobe encompassed and brought to the table, his mentality, his drive, his desire to win, the fact that he cared about nothing but winning, the fact that he wasn't your friend, not even his teammates' friends, really. Like he just wanted to win. He put that above everything else. He gave everything of himself on both sides of the ball. He was not afraid ever to never shied away from those last shot situations, was a closer. There's everything that guy brought to the table. There's never going to be another one like him. So Steph, that is a great point. The NBA, I think when Kobe dropped that microphone on whatever, April something, I think it was like 4/13/16 or something. I was in the building in Staples Center, watching it all go down, the 60 piece against the Utah Jazz. When Kobe dropped the mic and said, "Mamba out," that was basically like the end of an entire generation, the end of an era, and it was the end. It was the last moment of the last gunslinger, the last alpha, Kobe Bryant, in my opinion. So great point, Steph. And I didn't know you were so young, by the way. So welcome in. I love to have younger people in the audience here because typically my audience skews older like me. Next in, we've got Summer Wine, who's going to come back in and try to slander the legendary Tom Cruise with trying to continue this preposterous Leonardo DiCaprio narrative that Summer Wine was slinging around last show. So let's see what Summer Wine's follow-up is here.
Al greater than Leo. Leo greater than Cruise. These are facts. Love the videos. Well, I don't think anyone's saying that Tom Cruise or Leo are better actors than Al Pacino. Obviously, Al Pacino's a greater actor. We're talking about Leo and Tom Cruise are big movie stars.
I'm gonna be honest here though. And we'll do the quick, we'll do it the quick disclaimer. Actors and movie stars are different. Yeah. Actors are just like technical acting ability. Movie stars encompass a lot more. Like they have to have the charisma, the star power, the drive, the look, like to really pop on screen, but then also the savviness to be ambassadors for the studio, for your projects, to carry and market the film off screen as well. Like movie star means a lot more than actor. With that said, Al Pacino is a great actor, but he's not. And I know he's got at least one Academy Award, maybe two. I think only one though. He's been nominated a lot. I think he was nominated like 8 or 9 times. But Pacino to me isn't necessarily a great actor. Like he typically plays a lot of the same roles in my estimation. Like when I think of, again, I said it on the last show, I'll say it again. In no particular order, Daniel Day-Lewis, Jack Nicholson, and Marlon Brando, to me, for male actors, those are the 3 best male actors I have ever seen in terms of acting. Tom Cruise is the best movie star I've ever seen by far. It's not close. And there will never be another like him. But Tom Cruise, people forget about his younger career, like before, like pre-96, when he did the first Mission film. Tom Cruise was quite a theatrical act. Like he was quite a dramatic actor at that point. He had done a number of good dramatic roles and been nominated for like 3 Academy Awards his own right. Before then, all of a sudden, when he was like in his mid-30s, he's like, well, now I think I'll become an action star. He kind of did it reverse. When younger, mostly at his younger stage is when most people would be doing the action movies and stuff. Then they would segue into more of a dramatic actor later on in the career. Tom Cruise did it in the reverse. He was doing more so like dramatic acting, art house films and stuff until he was like 35. Then all of a sudden he segued into this big action star. So Summer Wine, agree to disagree. I think Tom Cruise is above both of those guys in whatever way you want to slice it. But I do appreciate your love for the videos. Go ahead, Gary.
Watch Al Pacino in Godfather and then watch him in Scarface. I'm assuming you've seen both those movies.
Yeah.
2 entirely different characters. He's got range. He does play a lot of similar roles, but my point is he does have the ability to have huge range. The Scarface, the whole accent.
Let me put it this way. Tom Cruise, if you have not seen anybody out there, Born on the 4th of July, is a better performance to me than anything Leonardo DiCaprio or Al Pacino has ever produced. In terms of a performance.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape from Leo?
Yes, better. Okay. Tom Cruise better. Born on the 4th of July.
I need to revisit that. I only saw that when it first came out in theaters. It was like 35 years ago, so I don't remember much about it. I need to revisit that.
And again, it's still like Kobe having only 1 MVP to me. The fact that DiCaprio, Brad Pitt, and George Clooney all have been given Oscars and Tom Cruise hasn't is an absolute crying shame, just like Kobe having just 1 mere MVP award. Next in, we've got Xavier DeGod is back in, as I said, with the hypotheticals. They're coming now. Go ahead, Gary, and read this latest one from Xavier.
You guys have really think or believe the Clippers are a worse franchise than Hornets/Bobcats, Pelicans/Hornets, Nets, Pacers, Grizzlies, or Wolves? Well, I think the Clippers they've had some good teams, but they always find a way to choke. I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, he does bring up some good points. I mean, like Hornets, Bobcats are also putrid. Like they have had essentially mostly a lot of futility throughout their history. So now look, Wolves have been down too for years and years and years. They have had some great players. Kevin Garnett was, I want to say 12 or 13 seasons. And then obviously now the Wolves are very good. Back-to-back Western Conference Finals appearances for them. I'm still going to stand by the Clippers, but I will say this. The Bobcats or whatever we're calling them are quite close they're tight in the mix in the running, Xavier. So that's a fair point. But still, the Clippers, I mean, they've won nothing. They've been around since 1970. They've been the little brothers in the biggest city for years, second-class citizens for most of the time. And they just find a way. They've been good as of late, but they've had years of futility. I think if maybe I'll do a video on this in the off season if you guys are that interested in it. When this final series ends, I'm looking for stuff that I could talk about and do in the off season. Perhaps I'll do a video, a full and total breakdown on the worst franchises in NBA history and really let the numbers bear out who is the worst of the worst. Giuseppe is back in. Go ahead with Giuseppe's question or latest question or comment. And thank you, Giuseppe, for your continued support.
If ESPN offered you a contract, are you taking it?
I guess it would probably depend, Giuseppe, on what the stipulations were contractually. Would I have free range to talk about things in the way that I wanted to talk about them, or would I have to tote the company line, and would I have to become like a LeBron stooge and jock sniffer and bootlicker? Would I get to come in and essentially be like the foil to all of these other bootlicking sycophants for LeBron and various other things, mind you, that there's a lot of things happening around ESPN that I've been down on. Look, I'll be honest with you. For years of my life growing up, in my young life, I wanted to be either a wide receiver in the NFL or a shooting guard in the NBA or Tom Cruise or an ESPN, analyst, an ESPN, I have my own nationally syndicated ESPN radio show for 3 hours a day, something like that. So there was a long stretch of years in my young life where would have been a dream for me to work for ESPN. But now for the last probably 5 to 10 years or so, ESPN is a joke to me. It's a punchline. They're continually becoming more and more of a joke. So I just don't know actually if I would work for them. I think it would depend on the offer, and it would depend on exactly what capacity I was able to talk about things in. And quite frankly, at this stage of my life, I don't know if I want to move to Bristol, Connecticut. So I think that would probably entail some kind of a remote setup too. So good question, Giuseppe. And I don't know. I'll keep you guys posted if I hear from them with any kind of an offer. We've got Xavier. We've got Xavier back in yet again. Xavier likes to do this towards the end of the streams and get back in with several questions. So Gary, go ahead and answer. We're well over. We're at 2 hours and 11 minutes, nearing we're at 12:50 a.m. on the East Coast. So we're getting kind of to a conclusion point here, but that's typically when Xavier starts really peppering us with stuff. And I still have a couple super chats remaining, and I always say, I will never get out without reading these or answering them in some capacity, because I do appreciate all of you guys for your continued support and great and very gracious generosity for us here in the lounge. So go ahead and read this most latest one from Xavier, Gary.
First question, between 76ers, Pistons, and Heat, who's the better franchise? And second, who's the better franchise between it's so random. Who's the better franchise between the Rockets, Bucks, and Knicks?
That is a very random question. I think I would probably have to say, that's a tough question. I think I would probably say the Heat in the first one, just because the Pistons had a little run in the 80s with the Bad Boys Pistons when they went back to back, had truly great teams with Dumars and Isaiah Thomas, obviously, Bill Laimbeer. So I'd say the Pistons had a nice little run in the 80s. They've been pretty bad though for 15, 20 years now. The Sixers, they were one of the great single season teams in 83. The Dr. J and Moses Malone pairing, one of the great individual teams ever. But since then, they've been kind of a laughing stock. The process blew up in their faces, obviously. The Heat are still competitive. They went to 2 finals in the last 6 years. And they won 3 in the last 20 some. They won the 1 with just Dwayne Wade and Shaquille O'Neal. Then they won the 2 with LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and Bosh. So I'm going with the Heat as the answer to that first quadrant or pairing, the trio. And then the second question, that's a tough one. I would probably say the Rockets, actually. The Rockets won the 2 more recently. The Knicks have not won since 1973, and they are a tragic laughing stock of the NBA as of late. Really, they had 2 of their best years ever, or at least in the last 25 years, and they fired their coach on the heels of it. So they haven't won since 73. The Bucks won. They won 2. They won the 71 title with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Oscar Robertson. Then Giannis Antetokounmpo won in 2021. But the Bucks, by and large, have wasted and squandered Giannis Antetokounmpo in the same way that the Denver Nuggets have wasted and squandered Nikola Jokic. So I don't think very highly of the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Rockets are the answer here. They're typically competitive, even when they're not winning. They did win the two with Hakeem in 94-95, and now they have a great young up-and-coming team. They were the 2 seed in the Western Conference this year. They had a nice little stretch in the 2010s with Yao Ming and Trace McGrady. I think they could have made some more noise if either one of those guys could have stayed healthy concurrently with the other one. And now, like I said, one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the West, and I think they are the favorite to me to get Giannis Antetokounmpo sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So they will become even better. They might become, the second best team in the NBA behind only the Oklahoma City Thunder here very quickly if they complete some kind of a trade for Giannis. So Xavier, good question. I'm sure there's more from you somewhere along the line. No, it looks like that might be it. But thank you, Xavier, for another good question. Giuseppe, back in again. Oh, I like this question. I'm trying to get out here, Giuseppe. I'm trying to work our way to an end point here, but this is a great question, Gary. Go ahead and read it.
Who's your GOAT for every sport?
Great question. I've got Wayne Gretzky in hockey, who is the great one. I'm going to stick, by the way, Giuseppe, to the 4 major American professional sports, primarily because I don't know soccer well enough. So it's going to be hard for me to talk in any kind of a capacity on that. I would say I've got Wayne Gretzky pretty easily in hockey. Baseball is a tough one. I think like Babe Ruth is probably a name that is typically brought up primarily just because he was a great pitcher and he is the greatest hitter of all time. But he played before the color barrier was broken. So he played still in segregation times. And if you look at the players that were playing that were not allowed to play against Babe Ruth at the time, I think that probably would have been impactful on the things that he accomplished and the numbers that he achieved. I struggle to call Babe Ruth the GOAT based on that, but I still think Babe Ruth's name warrants being brought up. And I think if there was a consensus of who the GOAT is in baseball, it would be Babe Ruth, just because of everything that he achieved from a team success standpoint and an individual standpoint. I'd say there's really not an answer to me in baseball. I think if you forced a gun to my head and said pick one, it probably would be Babe Ruth or maybe Willie Mays. I'm big on Willie Mays as well. And growing up in Pittsburgh, I was a big Barry Bonds fan, and I followed Barry Bonds to San Francisco. I think Barry Bonds gets hated on because of the steroid allegations from the latter stages of his career, and the fact that he was so truculent and standoffish with the media, and the fact that he did not win a World Series. He should have won the one against Anaheim, the Angels, in whatever year that was, 01 or 02. His team absolutely failed him. He should have won a World Series, but all of those factors combined, people don't mention Barry Bonds as much as they should. To me, Barry Bonds is in the GOAT running as well in baseball. But baseball is the one sport that I think is as hard to answer as any. I think, let's see what Shohei Ohtani does the rest of the way in his career. That guy could be in some serious consideration for the GOAT mantle in baseball, with everything that he brings to the table as an elite, top 3 hitter in the sport, and an everyday elite pitcher. I don't think we ever thought or imagined in 2025 we would ever see anything like what Shohei Ohtani is doing. And then look, in basketball, I don't mix words about it. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Pretty easy. I think there's other guys with a claim to it, but Jordan is my answer. And then in football, Thomas, Patrick, Edward, Brady, or maybe it's Thomas, Edward, Patrick, whatever. He's got 2 middle names. It's Patrick and Edward. I don't know which one comes before the other one, but Tom Brady is the GOAT, not only of the NFL, in my opinion. Tom Brady is the GOAT of GOATs. I think Tom Brady is the greatest team sports athlete in at least American history, because he has the most yards in NFL history, the most touchdowns in NFL history. He has the most wins in the regular season in NFL history, and his playoff wins are absolutely laughable. I think he has 35 playoff wins himself as an individual. Number 2 all time on that list, I believe right now, it was Joe Montana with 16. I think Patrick Mahomes just passed Montana or tied Montana. It's either Mahomes has either 16 or 17. Then it's Montana at 16. Then Peyton Manning at 14, and Tom Brady has 35. He has more than every other franchise, other than 2 or 3 franchises have like 38 or 37. Then the Super Bowls get really out of control. Tom Brady has 7 Super Bowls. That is more in his 20 years as a starter than any other franchise in NFL history. So the Steelers have 6. I think the 49ers, the Steelers might be, I'm trying to think, Gary. Well, Gary stepped away. The Steelers have 6, and that might be it. The 49ers may, Gary, can you look this up for me? The Steelers have 6 Super Bowls. Does anyone else have 6? No, wait. Yes,
I'm
6.
pretty sure.
Say it again. Say it again.
I'll verify, but no, I don't think anyone else has 6.
The Packers have. They won 1 with Favre, 1 with Rodgers, 2 with Starr. So they I think they have 4. The Cowboys, I think, have 5. The 49ers, I think, have 5. And the Steelers have 6, I think. Can you confirm that?
Okay, I got a list here. Patriots 6, Steelers 6, Cowboys 5, Niners 5, Packers 4, Giants 4, Kansas City 4, Denver Broncos 3.
Exactly what I was thinking. So the Patriots have 6 because Tom Brady has 6 for them. And then the Steelers have 6. Tom Brady himself has 7. That is outlandish. Like literally, if you gave LeBron James Bill Russell's winning, that is what in the NBA. So if LeBron James had like 11 rings with his individual stats, that is basically what Tom Brady is in the NFL. It's nuts. And not only that, to add to his legend, he left the New England Patriots and people said he was washed. He was in his 40s and he went to a team in the Bucks that had not been in the playoffs for like 10 years. They're one of the worst franchises in NFL history. He went to that team and in his first year won a Super Bowl. Then in his next year, at like the age of 44, led the NFL in yards and touchdown passes at 44. The guy is a freak. He is inhuman. It is inexplicable how good that guy is. He is the GOAT of GOATs in my estimation. Giuseppe, wow. Great question from you. Next in we have La Mercado is back in, another regular. La Mercado, welcome back to you. Thank you for being here. And Gary, go ahead and read this latest question or comment here.
Do you think the Pistons blew a good opportunity to win back-to-back NBA championships 20 years ago?
Well, they did win back-to-back, right?
No, he's talking about 20 years ago when they lost to the Spurs in Game 7 after beating
them.
But I have to say this real quick before you get started. I don't think they blew a good opportunity because they were underdogs in both of those series. Yeah. They beat the Lakers and it dang near beat the Spurs. So props to the Pistons for doing as well as they did.
Yeah, I'm so old. I think of the 80s as 20 years ago. I don't think of the early 2000s as 20 years ago. That's how old I am. But yes, that's true. They 20 years ago, which would have been the early 2000s, they did. I don't think they blew it. Like Gary said, they were significant underdogs against the Lakers. They won that in 5. And then the Spurs were favorites again. And they people talk about the Lakers like that was a huge choke job. It wasn't though. Like they lost Karl Malone. They were so top heavy that they lost Karl Malone, and Slava Medvedenko was their starting power forward for the rest of the series. And it's one of the great defensive teams of all time, just keyed in on Shaq and Kobe. And then the next, I think they validated the run that they had against the Lakers in the championship when they went back to the finals the very next year against a dynastic Spurs caliber team. And they took that team 7, and that was a very tight Game 7. And the whole series was very tight. They actually outscored the Spurs. We talked about this series a few nights ago. The Spurs, I think, averaged like 84 points per game in that series, and the Pistons averaged like 86 points per game. So that was a very, very tight, defensively oriented slugfest. So really, I don't think they blew anything. It was just a great team, and they played 2 other great teams were great opponents in the Lakers and the Spurs. Two teams, look, the Lakers, Kobe Bryant won 5 championships and Tim Duncan won 5 championships in that span of 15 years. The two of them combined to win 10 of the 15 titles. And the Pistons were unlucky enough to draw both of them in back-to-back years. So there were kudos to them for getting one of those two. Okay, next in we've got, is it Vacation Wealth Partners again with another generous donation for us. Thank you so much, Vacation Wealth Partners. Gary, what is this latest one?
What type of stats would Kase Wallace put up on a bad team, and where would you rank him if he played on the Nuggets?
Great question. So, and first of all, I do want to make this disclaimer. I've been watching the Thunder closely for 2 years now, and until a few days, because I don't typically have the volume on for a number of reasons on NBA games I'm typically watching. I do now into the latter stage of the playoffs, and for whatever reason my eyes have always corrected. First of all, Wallace is the name on the back of the jersey, but when I'm looking at box scores and so forth for the last couple years, my eyes are always self-correcting it to. I've always thought his name was Carson. So I've only learned a few weeks ago that his name's actually Kase Wallace. So, but that is a great question. The Thunder are absolutely loaded and stupidly stacked. Their bench is insane. And I like to look at the BPM. So I want to see the season end BPM. For those of you that might not know, BPM means box plus minus. And it to me, it is the best metric in terms of, engaging individual dominance in basically all eras of NBA. But really now it's hard to cross compare this era to the last because of how depreciated stats were in the last era versus this one. But still, box plus minus is an individual estimate of a player's box score and how it applies to the team's success and how many points per game an individual player adds above a league average player being depicted at 0.0. So when you see a BPM and see whatever number it is, it means that player adds that number of points over a replacement level player. Nikola Jokic is the king of BPM. He is the highest BPM in NBA history. Jordan had the highest BPM in league history for all of time, basically, until Nikola Jokic came around. Jordan, 9.21. Jokic is like 10.37 now. So Jokic a full point better than Jordan on the BPM scale. This year in BPM, Jokic led the league easily at 13.3, nearly 2 full points over Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But if you look at, let me figure out my search button here. All right. Well, I'm having trouble figuring my search parameters out here. But the Oklahoma City Thunder had Shai at 2 in BPM. They then had also Jalen Williams at 19th league-wide in BPM. Working our way down, Isaiah Hartenstein was 32nd in BPM this year. And I just want to get a gauge of like where the bench players end for the Thunder. Isaiah Joe was 62nd. I think I might have jumped over Kase. And I'm having Gary. Do you? I'm for whatever reason drawing a blank on how I can search. Is it Control-4 now?
Well,
how do I pull? Go ahead, say it again.
For tonight's game, are you talking about for tonight's game?
Oh wait, I found it. Never mind. I found the search. Sorry. All right. So I just want to work down. We've got 7 players in the top 5, like 70-ish. Kase Wallace was 68th this year in BPM. So this season, Kase Wallace was 68th. And to give you some gauge for comparison, Jamal Murray is the best non-Jokic player. So the best player on the entire Denver Nuggets squad, outside of Nikola Jokic, who was number 1 this year, was Jamal Murray, who was 77th. So again, Kase Wallace is 68th in BPM. By the way, Kase Wallace is higher in PER and value over replacement as well as Jamal Murray. So Kase Wallace is better than every player on Nikola Jokic's team. And that is why Kase Wallace is like the 8th best player on the Thunder and getting like the 8th, most opportunities or whatever. So he's only scored the last couple years 8 and 7 points. But this kid, he is very young. He is only 21 years old still. So, if you put Kase Wallace next year in his age 22 season on a bad team, I think he would score 20 plus per game. I really do believe that. And some other the bench players like Isaiah Joe, I think would be a 20-point per game scorer too on several other teams. So if you put Kase Wallace on the Nuggets, look, it is very plausible that he would be the best player other than Nikola Jokic. And it's just insane to think of it that way, but it is. It's true. Like, that is how bad Nikola Jokic's supporting cast is compared to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's supporting cast, and why I think it's an absolute joke that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander got the MVP this year. Like, if you just substitute Nikola Jokic and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, put SGA on the Nuggets, put Jokic on the Thunder, I think the Nuggets probably miss the playoffs and the Thunder win the championship easily with Nikola Jokic. So I would love to get some of these young studs on the Nuggets. Like, I would do an Isaiah Joe and Kase Wallace swap right now for Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. I would. But unfortunately, the team building was inept, putrid, and pathetic on the part of Calvin Booth as it relates to poor Nikola Jokic, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander has just such a wealth of talent surrounding him now. Great question, Vacation Wealth Partners. Next, Marco is back in. I don't know exactly what this one is. Gary, go ahead and read this one.
He says the cat is Maine Coon, and it's not his. He says someone stole his cat. What kind of cat?
Oh, my goodness, Marco, I'm so sorry to hear that. That is absolutely tragic. I'm very, very sorry to hear someone stole your cat. I don't know when that was. Hopefully, there's still some hope that maybe you can be reunited with your buddy sometime down the road. And that is an adorable Maine Coon in the avatar for Marco. So Marco, the deepest heartfelt sorrows for you, and prayers out to you to somehow get your cat back, hopefully one of these days. Next thing, we've got Nate O123. Welcome in. Another Tom question. Go ahead and read that one, Gary.
Favorite Tom Cruise movie? Mine is The Last Samurai.
It's just such a tough question. Really asking me favorite anything for movies is hard, because I've seen probably like 15 to 20,000 movies maybe at this point in my life. I don't think I'm being hyperbolic. I love movies. For a very, very large stretch of my life, I try to watch at least one new movie every day for a large stretch of my life. So it's hard for me to say what's my favorite movie or the best movie, and therefore Tom Cruise, my favorite actor. Like, it's hard for me to pick just one. I will say the second Top Gun movie was a perfect film, in my opinion. I saw it 3 times in theaters. It never failed to deliver. It lived up every time. It was exhilarating every time. It brought a tear to my eye every time. I laughed. I cried. I was exhilarated with the aerial shots and everything that they did from that standpoint. It was just a great, great film. So I would say Top Gun Maverick, and the fact that it came out of nowhere, like when you see these long awaited or anticipated sequels, typically they always stink. So the fact that one he executed and lived up to potential for that one, that's got to be mentioned in the upper echelon of Tom Cruise movies for in terms of my tastes. And then I really like the movie Jerry Maguire. I love Tom's character in that, and I love sports. So it's just a perfect blending of, it's got Tom Cruise as the slick sports agent. It's like a coming of age movie too, which I love coming of age tales. But usually coming of age movies focused on younger people, like teenagers usually, or younger people finding themselves. But me, who has been like this perpetual, man child for my whole life, I like to root for characters that are still evolving and finding themselves later in their life. So Tom Cruise was like playing a character. He was in his mid-30s at the time of Jerry Maguire, and he was playing a character in Jerry Maguire who was in his mid-30s. So, and a coming of age tale, which involved sports prominently. So and it had so many iconic lines and moments. So I would say those two movies probably stand out very, very prominently in my pantheon of all-time great Tom Cruise movies. But great question, Nato. We've
and
got
mine is Collateral.
Oh, that's an interesting pick. Yeah, that's a very interesting, very dark horse type Tom Cruise movie pick. So I like that, Gary. That's a good pick. We've got The Enforcer is in next. Back in again, actually. So welcome back into you, Enforcer, and many thanks for being here, Gary. What is this latest comment from The Enforcer?
Rest in peace, Dikembe. Great off-court human and obviously an enforcer in the paint on defense. Does he wipe the floor with Rudy Gobert? I think so. I agree.
Oh yeah, for sure, Enforcer. Yeah, I echo your commentary on Dikembe both on and off the floor. And yes, the answer, I agree with your parenthetical little separation there of I think so. Yeah, I think so too. Dikembe to me was 10 times the defender of Rudy Gobert. And I'm not just jumping on the Rudy Gobert hate wagon here. A lot of people in today's league that cover it and play in it don't think very highly of Rudy Gobert. In the article that I reference from time to time where Tyrese Halliburton was voted the most underrated or most overrated player in today's NBA by 100 unnamed peers of his in the NBA, Rudy Gobert was second on that list. So people don't think very highly of Rudy Gobert. But so I'm not just piling on. I just genuinely think Dikembe Mutombo is one of the all-time great defenders and a significantly better defender, in my opinion, than Rudy Gobert. But yes, great question. Great comment, I should say. And Giuseppe now is backing it again. Go ahead with Giuseppe's latest comment, and thank you very much, Giuseppe.
Have you read any of Tim Grover's books?
I have not actually. I guess I should probably put that on the list of things to do. Tim Grover, of course, is the legendary longtime trainer for Michael Jordan, and he worked with Kobe Bryant. So he prominently, for long stretches of time, worked with both Jordan and Kobe. So I probably should read this guy's books. He is still a pretty well-known guy. He's like a public speaker and motivational speaker guy, and he's kind of like a David Goggins type, like no one's David Goggins, but he's in that same space. So Giuseppe, great recommendation. Maybe I should look into that, and I should probably grab one of his for some light reading material. Maybe the next time I fly, potentially I could get into that. And now we've got Xavier DeGod back in with another one, another rank list question from Xavier. Xavier, thank you for the continued support. Gary, what is this latest one?
Rank these Frenchies. I did not know what the heck he was talking about. It took me like 20 seconds. He meant franchises. Suns, Jazz, and Magic. Skap and Gary ranked them.
I guess I would probably go with
Suns, Magic, Jazz for me.
Yeah, I'd say that's probably a pretty good ranking. I'd say Suns, Magic, Jazz. I like that. Maybe, and it's tight. I'd say maybe Magic, Suns, Jazz. It's tight, especially now the Magic. I like where they're positioned. They've had a couple good. They've been to the finals a couple times. They went with obviously Shaq and Penny early in the or in the mid '90s. Then they went again with Dwight Howard in the 2010s ish range. And now I like their young setup with Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner. And then if they could get a trade, if they could add KD or something like that, they could be a pretty interesting team, I think, upcoming this year. So I think maybe I would go Jazz, Suns, Magic, but it's tight.
Wait, hey, hold on 1 second. Vacation is saying that we are hating on Utah. What about all the 50-win seasons with Jerry Sloan? I was thinking about more recently is what I was thinking. If you go historically, I mean, yeah, they were really good when Jerry Sloan was there. Obviously, he's one of the best coaches. It's not talked about enough, I don't think.
Yeah, I'll say this though: the Jazz, they basically they had a 20-year run of excellence with Karl Malone and John Stockton. They went to 2 finals. Since then, though, you know what? They were pretty good in the 2010s, too, though.
Yeah,
they were like
because Jerry Sloan.
48, 50 wins with Darren Williams and Carlos Boozer. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you've talked – basically, they've been terrible for like 10 years. So, maybe I'm being my vision is being clouded by how terrible they've been for like the last decade. They're like the worst team in the NBA this
They
year.
were really good with Jerry Sloan. He's an underrated coach because even after Malone and Stockton retired, they had minimal talent and were still in the playoffs.
Right.
So, and that guy was hard-nosed.
Right.
He's old school. So I think Jerry Sloan's one of the most underrated coaches, really good. And as soon as he retired, they haven't done anything since.
So yeah, this was a good question, Xavier. You give us so many close things. They're so tight. It's hard to rank sometimes. Yeah. So that was a good question. And now finally, we are crescendoing over the 2 hour and 40-minute mark here of this current iteration of the Skap After Dark Live. We are at now 1:17 a.m. on the East Coast. We are down to our final 2 super chats at this time. 39 from you guys tonight. Many thanks for your generosity and support of us. 2, though, more to go from Vegas 96. The first of 2. Vegas, welcome back into you, obviously, a continued supporter and sponsor of us. What does this first question say, Gary?
Would you consider a 6-figure salary on a major sports network to commentate on the NBA if you were told to tone down NBA rhetoric?
I don't know, Vegas 96. I don't know.
What about a 7-figure salary?
Well, yes, I think I would yes, I would take a 7-figure salary for sure. And I think I would tone down things, sure, but I don't think I wouldn't change my stance or my opinion on certain items. So like I would never not be critical of like a LeBron James, or even like I get a lot of backlash on my own channel as it is on my Steph Curry takes. So there's certain things like I would maybe tone down, but I wouldn't reverse. I wouldn't flip flop my stance or change, my viewpoints on certain things. So, and again, I think I would need some considerations and some concessions made. I think I would have some asks or some requests about like where I was working, what times and all that stuff. Gary, go ahead.
What if Clutch Sports contacts you?
Mm-hmm.
They say, here's a blank check. Fill out the money you want to say that you've done an extensive study and you now believe LeBron is better than Kobe and that you repent from your Kobe over LeBron. Here's a blank check. Write your number, Skap. What's the number?
I've talked about this in the past where there's a breaking point, where there's like, there's people in your group that say like, oh no, I would never do that. No matter what. I would never spend, no matter how much money you say, I would never do it. But there is a breaking point where everybody has a price where they would do mostly anything. I think I would, if Clutch came to me with like a suitcase of like 100 mil, like it would be like, I think I would probably go on and say like, yo, LeBron, I was wrong about LeBron. He is an all-time great. I love LeBron. I think very highly of him for 100 million. But to ask me to say that he's better than Kobe, though, I don't know. I still look, I'm saying no and like acting like I'm a man of very high character right now. But if there's a suitcase, if there's like a metallic briefcase and like LeBron and Rich Paul come into at my front door and they open this briefcase and there's like 100 mil in this case.
And it's tax-free. In this hypothetical situation, it's tax-free. The government's not taking their part.
I'm just a man, guys. I'm mortal. I'm human. Like I cannot turn down 100 mil. So LeBron, I know LeBron's watching right now. And if LeBron's not, Rich Paul, if you guys want to show up at my crib with 100 mil, you can maybe get me on your team. So just food for thought. 100 mil would be the price. So have your people can contact my people. Okay.
And you would say he's better than Kobe. You've changed your mind.
I don't want to say yes, Gary. Just even saying yes hypothetically sounds too dirty and distasteful for me to get it out of my mouth.
He's better than Jordan.
It would certainly, Gary.
He is the GOAT. He is the GOAT over Jordan as well.
For 100 mil, Gary, I can't even speculate. But if the 100 mil was on the table, the cash was there, and I was like laying on it like in that Breaking Bad episode when he's got all the money, and I was laying in this cash of this money bed. Like it would be probably pretty hard for me to deny doing that. But I won't. I refuse to answer, hypothetically speaking. But good question. We've got finally, last but certainly not least, Vegas 96 is in with one final question or comment here. Gary, what is that?
Would you also do streams for NFL Sunday or Major League Baseball playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, I certainly would be open to doing something like that in the future. I do love, as is evidenced by tonight's show in the lounge, I like many other sports. I like pretty much all of the four major ones here in America. And then like I said, I'm really getting into tennis even more and more. I've always enjoyed it, but I'm liking it more and more now. And the game, again, the match today between Alcaraz and Sinner was an absolute instant classic. So yes, I absolutely would be open to doing more streams. And I'll talk about it in more detail later, maybe when the playoffs end, but I'm looking to do maybe almost like a daily show, or at least that bi-weekly or a couple days a week live show where I just tackle the big major news stories of the day, just for like an hour or something like that. So that's pretty much something I'm working on down the pipe. But I will certainly keep all of you guys, tuned into that or keep you apprised of that moving forward. But as we're nearing the 1:30 a.m. mark. Again, these always go longer than I anticipate, but we're about 2 hours and 45 minutes right now. So I think this might be nearly a good stopping point. But I do, on my way out, just want to discuss this quick channel, which I'd like you guys to stay tuned. We're going to premiere a video right now. So do nothing but stay on with me right now. And when I end this live stream, it's going to go directly into a premiere for their latest video, which is airing just now when we tossed you guys over there. It is the top 10 richest college athletic programs is going to be the premiere video. So stay tuned for that. The channel is Amplified, and it is a channel that is primarily about college athletics and primarily focusing on generally the individual athletes and stars really across all sports. They do focus on, there's a couple of their recent videos are about some collegiate players. Obviously, Cooper Flagg is featured in one of their more recent videos. This one, though, is about the athletic programs. It's a very interesting watch. And again, the channel is Amplified, so stay tuned. I'm going to end the stream. It will take you directly to this latest video of theirs. Make sure, again, Amplified, you get over there and you click subscribe to them. And make sure you click subscribe to me, guys. And we will catch you after Game 3 of this series, which is on Wednesday night. But without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and send you out to Amplified's video.